2 hours to go in the afternoon. Welcome to the close on a very red day. Unfortunately, we're dealing with a bit of a sell-off once again this afternoon. 2 hours to go in the trading session. As I mentioned, lots of things to discuss as we head towards the close on a Tuesday. Let's have a look to kick things off at where the market stands this afternoon. And as mentioned, pretty red here, 1.26 currently for the S&P 500. There we go. 1.26 for the S&P 500, 0.4 there for the Dow. It was 2% for the NASDAQ. Slight pop there to get off day lows, which is nice. We were heading back towards day lows as we were about to come on there. Brazil, full percent to the downside. Same story for crude oil. Bitcoin and Ethereum have been pretty negative as well. Coming off, if you remember that inflation number from this morning, we got CPI last week, 30-year high for CPI. PPI this morning, the highest reading ever on a year-over-year basis. So not good on the inflation front. Here's the tech group as a result, leading the way to the downside. Adobe, INTU, S&PS, FTNT, IT, Microsoft even. 4% day in negative territory for Microsoft today. Pretty ugly right across the entire tech group. Healthcare as well, among the leaders to the downside. Everything's okay, don't worry. Industrials also very red right across the board today. Banks are trying to offset a little bit here. The individual banks, the insurance companies in positive territory, but diversified financials are also in the red. Everything else pretty flat, but it is the tech group that's, as we said, leading the way to the downside. It's just Sean trying to get his microphone. We're going to do.
That was Rob.
Okay, so it was Rob trying to get Sean's microphone. We'll be fine. Don't worry. It's just a Tuesday afternoon. It's a negative Tuesday afternoon. As I said, back to day lows here. We have Walmart moving around. We have a whole bunch of little tiny low float type stocks moving around that sea change going crazy this afternoon. So we'll talk about SEAC. Walmart off the highs, but interesting story on Walmart. We'll touch on that. To kick things off, as we do every single afternoon, we will do a bit of a review, have a look at some of the names we were talking about if you joined us this morning, to go over the watch list at 8:30 in the morning. Do that every single day. Sean's going to kick us off here with a review of one of his trades right now.
Hey traders, look, sometimes we learn better from our mistakes than we do from our victories and or our wins. And I think today's going to be another good example. Thank you for watching. We're going to talk about AMC. And look, yesterday, obviously a disastrous day for AMC, down, I think it was what, 12%, something like that. Started the day off pretty negative here today. But we wrote down, and I don't have it up here, we wrote down on our sticky note that we wanted to, so the market opens up down here. We wanted to short into 23 and then ultimately try to short up here 24. So this is why I look at a 20-minute chart. You see a big drop down. Obviously, the trend has been very, very negative on AMC. And then today we come in and it's bouncing in the pre-market off of this 20 level. So I'm thinking, hey, if we get a little bit of a bump up, why not turn out and start shorting some of this play? So as you can see right here, the main problem is, again, violation of our own rules. And I think that's going to come back to bite you numerous times. If you see where we started this short, it's right here, 2180. Like we talked about shorting near 23. Once we start doing that, that's where we get into trouble. We right away take about 30 or 40 cents victory on that, but that's only a piece because we do think that there's a possibility that we retest this 20 bottom. However, not even close, man. AMC just starts to take off uncontrollably. We short 22.25. We're like, okay, let's see what happens around 23. Here it goes ripping up. We don't even bother to average at 23 this time. It's way too strong. So we're like, you know what? Let's use our 24 level. So let's go back here and try to short near 24, okay? So that's what we start to do. We start to build up a position here. 23.50s, 23.60s, 23.70s, and then boom, it takes off to the upside. And this is where we actually wind up getting out on a 24 break. However, the break's not super strong, so we hit the short again. Like we still haven't learned from our mistakes. We should have got out of the way here of this short. But we hit the short again, and it actually cascades back down. We start getting out. So that's a short at 24.20. And then here we go, start taking about 70 or 80 cents. But again, all we're doing, this is like a $1.50 hit here. And then it comes back in and we're only making like 70 or 80 cents. Okay, it comes right back up again. And look, we put our stop order this time at the high of the day. Notice we don't average in when it comes back up. We just let this thing go. It comes up, takes out the high of the day, we get out. But again, looks like a false break up here, right? So we take the short again, hit the short all the way. Then we get out and we say, you know what, let's try one more time. And then here it is again. We short ahead of the day's high, and then it gets us taken out on the high side. So did we learn our lesson? There's two lessons basically. The first one is never short AMC, got you. But look, 23, 24. Stick to sort of the rules, and I wouldn't have had to get out here at the high side, because at this, I would have only been out of the money like 40, 50 cents. That's obviously not enough for me to punch out on AMC. However, because we started the short early, it was too much pressure, too many shares, we had to punch out. Thank God we were able to get back in, make a little bit of money again, and then lose a small amount right there. But today, AMC. So the two lessons are, I was just kidding about never shorting AMC, but stick to your rules right here. Stick to your rules. Make sure that when you do that research, you're able to stick with it. And then the second lesson is always do this, right? And we keep on winning here. And that is that you don't have to give up on the trade. If you see something and it looks like a weak breakout or a false breakout, you can always get back in. Next time we're going to get back in with a little more shares so that I can make a little bit more back than we did here. But AMC right now, beautiful short off 25. Let's see if we can do it there again.
Yeah, so back and forth we go for AMC. Back and forth we go for GME as well. Big down days yesterday for both. We're back to the upside today. I mean, it's 3%. We were down 15 or so yesterday. So a relief rally, to say the least, but not a big one for AMC and GME. That is the link to the watch list, guys. If you're looking for it, absolutely free every day when we come on at 8:30. You can check out that link. Grab the watch list. Again, no charge whatsoever. Miss V will help you out in the chat for that. We were talking about Walmart there. 3 days in a row now. Nice move for Walmart off the lows. I guess it's 4 actually. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to 144. Still in a bit of a range overall on the daily chart, but positive nonetheless. This is what I came up with for Walmart today. They're teaming up with this one-click video payment firm from California. So you can actually embed links right into videos to buy products using this technology, which is kind of cool if you're shopping from home, as a lot of us might be heading into the new year, hopefully not. Walmart, though, guys, coming back in a little bit, back to earlier levels anyways.
Yeah, so Walmart is one of the positions I actually have. Yeah, it's on the board. So I grabbed this long when we actually broke 144. So I've been in this for 2 hours, maybe 3 hours. 2.5 hours probably since we broke 144. So I stepped in, have 144.07 on the long, and then I kind of let it go. I'm like, I was a little loose with the management. I think that is my fault for not paying a little bit more attention around that 145. I felt like we could go, so I kind of gave it a little bit more space than I should have. So when it came back down through 144.50, I dumped a little bit. I'm like, you know what, 43 cents. After coming back this far, I can get out. The rest of it, trail stop is sitting just underneath 144.20, so I'm still going to walk away with just over 10 cents on the remaining position. But I think mismanagement at the very least of not getting out some in front of that 145. But the long break was there. That 144 setup, especially with the amount of action that we had right at the end there yesterday, around that 144, just north of 143.50, and then this morning, the fact that we spiked just between 143.50 and 144, and then came back down. And then when we finally went, that kind of confirms that whole base support level or our base resistance level that's just broken. So you can go for that long, and that's what I did. I think at that point, it's just management really. But Walmart has been a strong stock for the last little bit there. A great move. It is, holiday shopping season. That's something that can factor into things. But hey, at the end of the day, you give a technical move like this back at 140, a break of 140 on the 10th. Ever since that point, we've just had full strength, and here we are trading 145 or 144 and change. So decent strength, technically sound, and it's that time of year where it makes sense for retailers like this to move. And I remember, Brendan, this morning you were talking about Macy's also moving. Macy's absolutely on fire, just north of 4% here, and it's up $1. It's obviously got beaten down yesterday. slightly different, but it does look like retailers are strong today, specifically Walmart, just because it's been technically sound for the last few days. And then Macy's, absolute strength after taking out 25 earlier today. And here we are, 26 on Macy's as well. So great movement for Walmart. Definitely something to keep an eye on because it's providing opportunities, it's giving you levels, and it's something you can set up for multiple days to work with. So definitely keep an eye on Walmart.
If you guys think, yeah, I mean, Walmart, strength, right? I mean, we could look at Target and see what they're doing here. I'm really surprised at Williams-Sonoma here. We talked about their report coming out when it was around 208 or so. Once it cracked back down through 200, it's absolutely tanked. And I like Williams-Sonoma. I think that they're a high-quality retailer and a little bit opposite, obviously, of Walmart. Walmart playing more towards probably, the Christmas side of things, a smaller gift, things like that. But if you're trying to refurnish your home, things like that, which I think will start to happen a little bit more in the new year. Check out Williams-Sonoma. You're down here near the 200 period moving average, if not below it. This reminds me a lot of Nike, of some of those trades that we made on Nucor and things like that. So I really like Williams-Sonoma here. You have a 150 bottom, so I mean it's $20 worth of pain here to possibly get at least $20 back to the 50 period moving average and then so on. So I like Williams-Sonoma. We can always look at Target as well. That's another name. They tend to operate a little bit better than, that's still Williams-Sonoma. But Target tends to be a little bit better operator than Walmart, in my opinion anyways. A little bit better online presence. Although Walmart's getting better, man, and they can test. I don't think anybody's eventually going to test Amazon on the logistics or anything like that, but Target has a strong online presence and as well a nice to shop. We don't have any Targets here in Canada, but when they were here a couple, 5-6 years ago, they're really nice to shop in, and I feel like it's a little bit better experience than Walmart. So depending on what side you're on here, a lot of these names, just like Williams-Sonoma, Target pulled right back into its 200 period, which is amazing. That didn't happen at all throughout the last 2-3 years here on Target. Target's been a monster to the upside, and it looks like it will continue to work, but right now, some of these names definitely worth nibbling at. If you don't want the tech names, Walmart, good one. Target, a good one. In my opinion, Williams-Sonoma, the best.
Yeah, nice looking chart over the past little while there for a lot, in fact, of those retailers. Boeing out with some news today, guys. Just the delivery numbers came out for November. They were actually higher than expected. 91 new aircraft deliveries in the month of November. So that caused this initially today, where we got up to 200 on the nose. It's come all the way back to basically where we started, but trying to pop up here a little bit right now, in fact, for Boeing.
They're one of those names I traded, and there was some turbulence in the stock, to say the least, when we got that long. Just north of 198.50, technically sound. By the time we got to 200, I dumped it before we got to 200, though. I thought there was some resistance around 199, so I'm like, walked away, and then it took off another $1.50, but then failed at 200. And then did a complete reversal. And I was looking for that 195 break through the bottom. And here we are bouncing off that 195.50, now at 196.50 and change, bouncing back up. There's decent support down here. So if we were to bounce, this is probably the location to find that support, that 196 through 195 area. So here we are bouncing back up here. What do you do at this point? Nothing. You either get it somewhere close to 198.5 so you can work the 200, or you let the 195 break and then you play the bottom break on that as the futures rally here. A nice little move. I do want to jump into a quick futures trade. I did have my futures trade here. I went short a little bit here, just below 46.05 about an hour and a half ago or so. I held it for a bit, and then I'm like, I'm not sure. It doesn't look good. The volume coming in doesn't look solid enough, so I walked away, and then it decided to fall off a little bit. Then here you are with the rally. The problem with shorts this late into the day is, especially if we haven't had like a covering rally, it's a concern because you kind of roll the dice a little bit, because at some point shorts need to cover. So it allows for that to happen. The longer it doesn't happen, the worse it gets as we get closer to the end of the day. So a move like this happening at 2 o'clock, 2:15, it kind of helps the situation, especially if you're looking for shorts. I am looking for shorts, or at least until we take out about a few more points to the upside, then I'll give up the idea of shorts on the futures. But for the time being, I am looking at the idea of shorts. There's a nice little option, nice little location to work with, which is right here in between 10 and 15 with a flexibility of about 2 points or so above 15. So I'll give it the space to move. If there's a setup, I'll go for the short. If there isn't, and if this rally continues, then we gotta let this go, mark off the bottom, which is gonna be 46.95, and see if we can't catch any bids on the way back down. But for the time being, what you have to keep in mind is a lot of, obviously, selling has come into place in the last couple of days. these are not just positions, but this is almost like profit taking or moving out of the way, regardless of what the Fed does, is just moving out of the way. Why take the risk if you've got a massive position or portfolio? Why would you take that into the Fed when you know they're about to make some form of a change or highly likely to make some form of a change, whether it's wording, actual changes, or just implications on what that could be or projections, right? So that's what you're seeing in the last couple of days. Can this move be completely reversed if the Fed comes out, surprises everyone that, you know what, nothing's really changing. We're going to be, the wording is as is, and it's not that big of a deal. And everyone's like, oh, great, risk on at that point. And you're going to see this market rally all the way back. And we've given up, what, about 120 points or so in the 2 days from the high to low. This market can rally all that back if the Fed does absolutely nothing tomorrow. So it can be a risk-on situation. It all depends on what happens at 2 o'clock.
I'm with you. I don't think that this is necessarily going to be a bad thing tomorrow. I mean, they were very, last week or 2 weeks ago when Jerome Powell spoke, he was very, very hawkish. And I mean, that could all change again today, tomorrow, as they meet today, it could change. And we'll see the tone that they take. And I think that's what everybody's really waiting for, is the wording, you know, this tapering talk. Are they going to be pulling some of that back? You know, what kind of per month billions are we talking about here? So I think that's going to be super important tomorrow. But yeah, I'm back into a short here on AMD. We'll see right here at VWAP. We shorted here and just took it all out on the way down. Obviously, we should have waited for the ultimate bottom, but we didn't. Takes them out there once it breaks back through 50, and then a very small, the last 10% out here. And then noticed that it did have a hard time up here near 134.20. So like Arun mentioned here, we are looking, I mean, I'm looking anyways. I know Arun was talking about some shorts as well. So I'm going to see if we can't made a nice little move back up here on the NASDAQ. And now we'll hold AMD and see if it can short up downside. And if it does take out its recent wick high there, 34.20, then we'll be gone on that trade. So that'll be that trade. And then just checking back, Lucid. I mean, this is a name that we've been long the whole day. And you know, and we do the trade of the day, right? And I read the chat there and it was like, oh, you know, you short AMC, you know, blah, 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 you get hit. But I mean, the thing is that just as easy as you can go short a stock, you can go long a name. I mean, right here, this is $2.70 in the money right now on Lucid. Obviously, we don't have as many shares because we cashed it all out here when it came back up and through, but we do still have some, and Lucid's looking to take out the high of the day right now. So let's see what this happens. Obviously, today, Lucid up 2.81%. It's being included in the NASDAQ 100 there, Arun, so that could be the possibility of why Lucid continues to be strong here over the last little while. The last couple of days, I think the announcement came, what, Thursday or Friday of last week, some of the names that were going to be included and whatnot. And so there's a nice little couple day bounce up. I mean, it doesn't look like much, but we've held 36, 37, and we'll see if we can take out 40 again right now and hold that throughout the day. So Lucid right now looking pretty good. And there it is right there. So a nice little cash so far there on AMD as it comes right back down. And there it is. So this is already 1-to-1, right? So we're short already at 98, and we just got filled at 75. So that's your 23 cents, which was the upside out right there if we got filled. So we already take the 1-to-1 R to R here, risk to reward, and then we'll see what happens now. Hopefully comes back down into the 50s or so. We'll get some more out on the way back down. But if we're right about the futures, not crashing, but coming back in, AMD should reward us a little bit back in here in the mid 133s. So that's sort of what I'm looking at. I'm going to park a bit in the 50s right now, see if we can't take another 50 cents on this name and then make it, you know, work its way back down to the downside.
One of the most requested topics we get here on the show almost on a daily basis is position sizing and proper risk management, guys. Everyone wants to know, how do you size yourself accordingly to manage risk, but also be able to capture upside moves? In this video, we're going to go over exactly that. Here it comes. We're going to talk how to size yourself accordingly based off how much you want to risk and based off what it is exactly you're trading. Let's jump right into things here, guys, because lots to cover.
Sure, let's go. Let's jump right into this. And I'm going to use a very similar example that we just had here on AMD. And I think that when you're talking about position sizing, the most important thing, Arun, of course, is you never want to be kicked out of your account for the day. You never want to be, okay, you're on PDT, you've made all of your trades for the week, and now you have to hold on to something. Or, I only have $1,000 in my account, and I'm down $990. What do I do, right? And so I think that what you always have to remember is position sizing is so important, because I look at it like I don't want one trade, and this is just the way I work. I never want that one trade to be responsible for more than 25% of my daily shutdown limit. So this is on the negative side, not on the positive side. So if I'm taking, and we can go to AMD right here, if I'm going to get shut down, if I lose $1,000 today, so my daily maximum amount of risk is $1,000. So I've stamped that. That's how much on average I make. So that's on average how much I'm going to lose. All right. So when I take this trade right here short on AMD, and I say to myself, I'm willing to let this thing go up to 134.20, and I'm short 134. That's 20 cents. So for me there, and there's a nice little fill there, for me, the risk on that trade would be 20 cents. So if my shutdown is going to be $1,000, then I'm most willing to take 1,000 shares, because about 1,200 shares, depending obviously on the math. As that number increases, if I get stopped out, okay, boom, I'm short 134, I'm out 134, 22 or 23 with slippage. That's that 20 to 25% of my daily net in one trade. So I'm happy with that. That's how I like the position size. And it's again, it's looking more at the negative side of things. Not the, because here comes AMD just crashing to the downside. Once I'm in the money, look, I can say, oh, you know what, this is a good level for me. I'm just going to bid it and take some out here in the 30s, okay? So when it comes down, I get out. When you're in the money, it's absolutely no problem. I like to do risk to reward at these kind of trades, 2 to 1, 3 to 1, something like that, because here you go. We just take out another profit. So that's short 134, out 133.30. That's 70 cents when our risk is 20 cents. So that's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. If you have a trade that you really like, that's based on this, and this to me is a wick off top, it's something that I really like, rally, stop, wick, turn to the downside. So for me, that's well worth the risk reward, and there it is right there. So I like to use around 20 to 25% of my daily shutdown per trade that I think has a great setup.
I think for what we need to also address is that everyone at home who's trading with their own accounts, for us here, we have daily shutdowns implemented by the system. But at home, you have free access to all your capital until you lose it all, right? So you have to kind of put that in yourself. So if you have $30,000 in your account, I'm just pulling this number because of the chat there. If you have $30,000 in your account, how many times can you lose a certain amount before it really gets to you, right? Can you lose $3,000 for 5 days in a row and be okay with it? Whatever that number is, you've got to figure it out. Once you figure out what that number is, you know what, I can only handle $2,000 for 5 days in a row before I think I need to take a break. So $2,000 is going to be your shutdown. First figure that out. Once you have what your number or your shutdown level is, then figure out what is required for this trade. I think one of the biggest mistakes a lot of new traders make is that they just want to take the trade for the sake of taking the trade, but not willing to put the stop where it needs to be. Like they want to get in now, but the stop, well, I don't want to lose more than this, but the stops, let's just say in this case, let's just say a futures case, right? Because I'm trading the futures. In the stop for the futures, if I need to take a trade, I'll make sure that I'm pricing my entry in such a way where I can get the trade. For me today, my stop was 85, 46.85. If I was going to take a short, that was a level that I had marked off. So depending on how the market sets up, wherever it sets up, in this case, it's set up around 45 to 50, I will adjust how many contracts I'm going to take based on where my stop should be. Not where I want it to be, but where it should be. So I know the stop should be about 35 points or so away from where the market is trading. That means I got to account for 35 points in risk per contract, do the math in my head. You know what? I can handle this many contracts based on my shutdown for today. If my shutdown is $2,000, you got to do the math yourself. But that's how you kind of come through the math of it. You got to go through the math. It's all about based on probabilities, what you can handle as a trader, how many times you can handle that hit, and then you come up with an actual number that you can work with it. So for me, I'm okay with taking, I know probability-wise, I'm not wrong more than 3 times in a row on the futures. So for me, I allocate three trades, and regardless of how I've got to size it, I will do what I need to do on the future side of things, but I know that I've got 3 trades in the chamber for the futures before I decide to move on and be like, you know what, I was wrong today on the futures, let's go trade something else.
Yeah, very important point, very key point. If you take anything from this video, guys, just the understanding of when it comes to planning a trade, reverse the process. Start with where am I wrong and how far away is that currently from where price is? And that's how much your risk is in the trade. And then size your positions according to that risk and whether or not you can even take the trade. That's a little bit, guys. So much great content on this very topic, though. Maybe we'll have to do more of these. Let's talk about Tesla. I wanted to mention a nice move back to the downside on Tesla as well. Another one that kind of got hit in the pre-market a little bit. But these were the headlines that we were dealing with in the pre-market this morning. The Dogecoin angle. Elon out last night saying you can buy merchandise only with Dogecoin on Tesla's website, I guess. But there was also this number down here, 906.5 million additional Tesla, or worth of additional Tesla shares sold on Monday's session from Elon himself. And then I saw another article that said, and he's still not even close to done selling. So here we go again, back to the downside for Tesla.
Do we really know why he's selling? I mean, we thought that there were some tax situations there. And then I know, of course, Bernie was calling at him there for a bit as well to sell some of his position. I just want to give, and we will talk about that. So we are short AMC again. Hopefully that doesn't wind up burning us. Let's go to AMC quickly. I did want to talk about AMD as well. And then we'll talk about Tesla. So these are just new positions that we're in right now. AMC near that high. Let's see if we can, okay, so it's starting to, I don't know. I mean, what are we going to do? Just take a little bit of pennies here? Let's put a bid around 50 and see if that works, and we'll get out at 25 if it does take out the top. But there's a nice little short. You know what? I have to reward myself a little bit and try to get something out here if it does come back down. Give me those 59s if we can get them. There it is. So then we'll put in a stop order just above, what is the day's high? 25. So we'll put it at a little bit above 25 here and make sure that we get out if it does pop. So there we go. Anyways, there's another short here. We're trying this ahead of that. It just ripped up. We spike out. Then we get, well, what are we short at right now in AMC? 75. We just took out a 59 there. So a nice little temporary win here for AMC. No idea where we're going to go from here, but we'll wait to see on that one. And then a quick one on AMD as the market starts to rip up. I think it was, I want to say Benny Blanco, but that's not what it was. Benjamin Franco.
Who's that?
Not bad. No, you're just mentioning that the AMD, when I mentioned that, he thought maybe it was really crashing here. But no, I'm just scalping AMD, and I put that in the chat. It's just, you know, this is how I've been trading it today. Short here, scalp, scalp, scalp. Short here again, scalps, and we're out. So that's 20, 40, 60, 80, 100%. We didn't even let that go back up to the upside. The market's just too crazy. So we just take all that profit out right there and then hopefully be able to trade this thing again. But you want to talk about Tesla. Look, I sold some Tesla on Thursday when I was last in at 10.22. And we talked about why that was. That was the 50-period moving average. Anyways, right here, it was just coming back in. You know, to sell at 1,200 would have been sweet. But, you know, sometimes you just got to play what we're talking about. And, you know, Tesla right now, it's not really in the news for any great reasons. I mean, that Dogecoin story, to me, that's no reason for it to the stock to be going up or down. You could buy, what was it, Tesla merchandise with Dogecoin? That's great for Dogecoin. I don't know what that means for Tesla here today. Tesla's just coming off. They're just a well-worked stock, you know, huge, huge gains. And I mean, let's just keep this real just for everybody so you're not like, you know, jumping out of buildings or anything like that. Tesla right now is just back to where we were a month ago. I mean, it's a little more than a month ago. You're back down. This is October 25th, this big day here, where we ripped from 930 through 1,000, almost $100 this day alone. So we just one more day like this on some good news, and you can get back up to some of these levels. And then all of a sudden, a sell rate here doesn't look so smart anymore. So I'm just going to wait for Tesla. I think tomorrow, we've already hit this out, man. I think tomorrow is such a huge day to see what the Fed has to say that I'm not super interested in any of these levels on Tesla. And I actually talked about this earlier. I'm thinking to buy some of mine back at least half of what I sold. I sold 20% of the position back down here, 840, 850, something like that. But Tesla could get to there tomorrow, and then I won't buy it back. So I don't know. We got to wait to see what happens here. But you've seen Ford, you've seen Rivian. I mean, I have a $3 winner on Lucid. Like, you want to talk about changing of the guard, and I don't think it's going to happen right now. But Tesla down 2.5%, while look what Lucid's doing here, up 3%. And you could notice I haven't traded Tesla today, but we are hella long right now on Lucid. So I just think there's a little bit of a changing of the guard here. And again, obviously Tesla's going to remain king, but there's just too many sideshows right now, like Sideshow Bob. There's just too many of them in Tesla. So I'm going to stick with Lucid and Rivians and the Fiskars of the world.
That's the thing too, right? Tesla's always going to have competition from established brands as they roll out their EV platforms. So GM specifically, I look at GM. The reason I pulled it up because GM's been moving insane. Maybe not today, but the last 2 days. You saw that rally on Friday and then the massive drop yesterday, and then here we are kind of going sideways, taking a break after that kind of a roller coaster ride, because that really does look like a roller coaster, right? You build it up, you kind of flatten up for a little bit, or that's just the gap in the day, kind of flatten out for a little bit, and then you get that drop, and here we are kind of setting something up. What it is, I don't, remains to be seen. But there's a lot happening, especially in the motor space or in the car EV slash motor space. So keep an eye on all these names: Lucids, the Rivians, the GMs, the Fords, Tesla's obviously there as well. So there's a lot happening. That's definitely something to keep an eye on. But I want to go back to the chat. There's a question that I actually think is a really good question that needs to be answered. From Lewis, when scaling out of a small position size, is it better to scale out small percent along the way or let it run further and take out a big percent? Thoughts? Now that is going to be individual preference. Sean and I do this very differently, and I think that's why I wanted to bring this question up. I hit checkpoints. So I'll choose certain price points and I'll put orders out to get out in front of those price points. So targets for me, based on what I'm risking, and then I'll also have a trailing stop along the way, but I won't get out anything in between. So I'll set my targets, I'll let the stock move, and then based on the trailing stop, I'll kind of move it up just to protect myself a little bit. I know Sean likes to get out based on what he's seeing on the tape a lot more than I do. So Sean, how is it that you look, like I've explained how I do it, how do you do it when you're piecing out your exits? Like some of these trades that you've had that are running like $3-4, how are you piecing your exits out?
Yeah, so it's a great question. I think that's what everyone eventually deals with is, where to get things out. And I think it all starts with what your idea is for the trade to begin with, right? And I mean, I think that we call up Lucid here because this is one of those $3 winners, exactly what you're talking about. So we're in the money $3, but I only have on, unfortunately, 10% of the trade. So for those of you that are asking, this is where I initially try to get them out. And I just try to, and I don't look at, so one strategy that I saw someone talk about was average true range. And I think it was you again there, Benjamin Franco, saying that the average true range for it wasn't AMC, it was AMD, was $3.50, something like that. So why am I scalping out 80 cents or whatever it was, right? And I think that there's a few things. Time of day, I think, is very, very important. In the morning, when you, like just look at this move here, just alone, just in the morning. So Lucid opens up, guys, ticks down 37.22. Then within 2 or 3 minutes, rips up to 38.77. So that's about $1.50. Then over the next 10 minutes, it comes right back that $2, even lower now, and retests that 37 before now slowly, although this is a big move, but really slowly just starting to grind back up. So to answer your question, where do we get out? I mean, I think that it just matters on past support and resistance levels, even cent levels. Like I get out at 38.50 a lot, so 50 cents, even dollars, things like that on the way up. So, I mean, I know it's very, very stock specific, so I don't really have like any great answers, but at the same time, I think that there's always something, and I got to give credit to Arun for this, and that is that you got to let your trades breathe a little bit, and Arun's taught us that, and me that anyways. So here's that 37 bottom. So this is why I hold out, because as it's starting to rip through 39 here, there's not much. It could go right back up to 40. So from 39 to 40, we had a little bit of stopping here yesterday. And then after that, it's already been to 40. So we do expect it to come back up. And then you kind of look at a longer time frame. And then that's where you sort of say, you know what? Hey, it does have, like look at this move. You don't think Lucid can move like $8? Well, here it is right here. There's $8 straight to the downside. So if you get an aggressive day to the upside, with news, and I think that's another important thing, Arun. I don't know if you even said this, because I guess you're looking more at futures, but catalysts, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you need to have a catalyst. If there's some positive news coming through from Lucid, Beyond Meat, things like that, then you could have a run. Like, look at Beyond Meat today, BYND. I mean, it's having a monster day. There was news today about the McPlant or something, possibly going through and coming out. Look, if you let it settle down and you take the 65 bottom, look, it just sort of, let it breathe. Let it work its way down. If you're always punching out when it comes back to VWAP, then you're not going to have the opportunity to let it breathe. So I think if there is a catalyst there and it makes a lot of sense and you can always hold, I'm trying to hold more, Brendan, but I like the 10% rule.
And the key here, and another takeaway maybe, is the fact that there's not necessarily a wrong answer here. It's as Arun was saying, what works for you. Understand what works for your mentality and your risk profile and what makes sense to you. And the way you answer that question is, what is making money? If it's making money, then it's working for you. So understand those two things and it becomes a little more clear. I saw a few people talking about this one, Sea Change, big rug pull there as we were talking about that from 180 all the way back down to basically where it started this morning, essentially in this 140. If you missed it yesterday, this is that Triller merger deal with Sea Change. So a huge move up. If you remember, late in the afternoon, it halted a couple of times. But coming back down again here for this SEAC. There's also that other SPAC that was flying around today, ESSC, still doing a bit of volume here as well.
I was going through the chat and I noticed that someone's like, can you place our trades live? Yeah, they're live. They're the bottom banner, which right now says subscribe and like. That is all of our live positions right now. There you go. My City Long, PG and Roblox short, Sean's Lucid and Ford.
Short Roblox?
Yeah, I'm getting rocked on it. So I guess I shouldn't be shorting Roblox. I guess that's rule number 2. Don't short AMC and don't short Roblox. But right. That's your rule. I don't follow that rule.
It's not even my rule, to be honest with you.
I'm going to short Roblox. It's out 60 cents or so, but the setup is there. The setup is what I care about. They're not working out for me. The Walmart was the last trade that was working out for me, but I've been in this trade for a while now. That 106 break or breakdown, I guess, I kind of shorted that, and I'm still technically sound. So as long as the trade is still technically sound, I'm gonna hold it, right? It's not about me kind of hoping or whatever. It's just the trade requires some time. Just because you get in doesn't mean that it's gonna go instantly in your favor. Trades take time, and sometimes it takes all day. In this case, it's not all day, but it's still like an hour or so. Here we are waiting for it to get back underneath 106 and change. Citigroup though, that one I've had all morning. This one was me going long just north of 61, trying to get a nice little long expansion through the multi-day level here. We kind of fell off. The stop was only 60 cents away, but this thing has just kind of not gotten back above 61. It's gotten close a couple times, but every time we get up there, it finds the seller. So here we are coming off again. And then the third one was PG. Oh man, that's pretty much the same read as Roblox, but PG has been one of those trades I've had all morning that hasn't really gone anywhere. So the trades that I'm stuck with are the ones that are not working for me. The other ones have already cashed out. My BA position, my Peloton, my Walmart, and my DTTW already cashed out. And then I'm holding on to the only 3 trades that I still have that are losers. So of course, right? But futures being the other big thing that I do. 'Cause for the most part, I do trade futures most of the time. The thing with the futures, though, there's not always going to be a read available for you. There's a lot of things that have to fall into place, apart from just the read being there. The risk has to make sense. Like this morning, the read was the short around the 46.50. Why 46.50? Because my stop was 85. I don't risk more than a certain point, the level. So my cutoff is about 35 points or so. So if I'm going to do just based purely on that, I know my entry has to be somewhere north of 50. Obviously, the market went up from 25, went up to 50, didn't even set anything up and just spun right back around. So at that point, my trades were all burned, right? The only other trade I had now was like, maybe the 46.05 short with the 46, or pretty much where we were at right now, a stop somewhere around there. Held it for a bit, didn't work out. I'm like, you know what? I don't like the way it's looking. Processing new information, something's not right. Move out of the way. It went a few points in the money and then, took off to the upside. So I kind of moved out of the way on that one. But that's just how trading is. It's let your winners ride. That is a rule, right? Let your winners ride, cut your losers. But at the same time, you don't cut your losers because they're losers. They got to be cut off at the right locations, because sometimes if you don't, what you're going to end up doing is getting out of a position that is just kind of drawing back a little bit before it decides to go in the money or go in and make the read that you were looking for. What's the move?
Yeah, no, it's exactly the same thing with what you're just talking about right here. And I was AMC. I'm letting this move happen here. Although we are out of 70%, we're going to try to hold. And I think that we talked about position sizing and things like that, and how long to hold a certain trade. Well, look, this is another example. This is a 1-minute chart, so here we're absolutely I don't want to say tanking because that would be the wrong term, but we're starting to fade back in a little bit here on AMC. So when I look at this chart, I go back to here, and this is a 1 minute, and I say, you know what, we had some resistance there, or support. I guess it wasn't really resistance there, but support again comes down, wicks down, goes to the upside, and the same thing happens right here again. Comes back in, wicks down, then a major move to the upside, which thank God allowed us to short that or we wouldn't have anything on there. And now, where do we get this last piece out? Right when it comes back into this part. So now we can hold the rest and see if we can get a hero move back down into this area now. So this is kind of what I look at. Here we go, come on. Like, I'm just gonna put a bid. Normally I'm bidding, you know what? I will always do this, and this is something that I just have to get better at, I guess. I'm gonna put a bid down here at 24. Like, we could take this 70 cents. And again, did we get spanked around on AMC? Yeah, we did, man. Short. But since then, we've made back that short out there, and then we did get the rest out of the top. Short again, boom. That's good. Short there, quick out, and then another short. So it's all shorts today for AMC, and that's not like me. Like, normally, I'll go kind of both ways. I always get in trouble when I say that, but we'll go both ways with the stock. It's just today, all these tops, I just felt like they were good opportunities to short. Here was a good opportunity to get long off this consolidation, then maybe again right there. So this is where I'm debating getting out. We're at 24.07. We should take 70 cents on this right here and then hold the last 20%. But that's AMC broken down a little bit for you and why we decided to take that risk here at the hop side.
A bit of a volume spike here, guys, on CRISPR Therapeutics, just heading to day highs through 74 there. This is another one. I was just looking at this daily chart. Like, this thing was cut in half from this high, let alone this high. So big move down, obviously, for CRSP. Apparently, Elon Musk touting this technology online, talking about it being the future of medicine, the future of medical care. Gene editing is what CRISPR does.
CRSP.
Yes, taken off to the upside.
Is it? Yeah. So there you go. So this is another problem with, not a problem with, but of course Tesla. So now you're having to battle like Elon. You said Elon Musk, Brendan?
Yeah, he was talking about the technology.
Yeah, he's talking about the technology. So there you go again. Like somebody randomly. Like what does he have to do with this? But there it goes right up to the upside. So maybe not focusing so much on what's going on with Tesla down 2.5%. But now CRISPR, a nice little move here, high. And again, I think this is another one of those Cathie Wood names as well in one of the arcs. I don't know if it's in the K or not. But again, CRISPR Therapeutics, nice name. Obviously, if the technology's solid, I mean, I don't know more about technology than Mr. Elon Musk. So we'll wait to see if he likes it. Maybe there is something there. I'd rather get excited on a breakthrough 75. Nice, beautiful bottoms at 71. So this actually reminds me of what Cathie Wood, like I said, she comes in and buys, some of these names when levels are like this with all of our cash, those of us invested in the RK. But right now, nice little move upside on CRISPR. Definitely worth looking at. What does it look like on the minute chart though? Okay, so backside, what was it yesterday? Already been up here. So we'll wait to see, but a 75 break gets me interested in this name.
Bradley Taylor, I noticed that there was a super chat and a question. I was going to address this anyways. Asking if there was a specific way to journal a new strategy you're trying. So I'm always testing new approaches. Obviously, I have my approaches that have already been tested, and I have like certain aspects that I know really well. And then if I'm trying anything new, what I like to do is there's 4 key components that I like to write down. And all my strategies are kind of written down. The reason I do that is because I need to know the math behind this probabilities. If I know the probabilities, then I can be confident in taking the trade. So there's always going to be 4 things that I like to write down. The time of entry, time of exit, obviously the price of entry, price of exit. I guess there's more than 4. I consider them 4 classifications. So the time is one of them, in and out. Price, in and out. Reason for entry. And now I think this really helps because if you just write down your trade for the sake of writing down your trade, when you look back at it, you don't know why you did it. If you have a strategy that has like multiple reasons or multiple ways of entering, whether it's a fade, so let's just say part of the strategy is a fading of a rally. And then another part of the strategy is the breakout of a double top or something like that. Just find a reason or like a small little 2-letter word or some sort of shorthand that allows you to understand what the reasoning for that entry is. And then you kind of put that in a book, let's say, and over the course of a week, you collect the data. And at the end of the week, you can break that data down by which one is working out better for you, what the reasoning is. Let's just say your breakouts aren't as high of a probability as your fades. And at that point, you know that, you know what, maybe I can let one part of the strategy go and focus more on the other because it's got a better probability basis, right? And the whole thing is, this only really helps you if you execute every single trade that you see for that approach. Obviously, when you're testing things out, you can either do that with paper money or you can do it with really small sizes. I suggest, and I do this all the time, regardless of whether the fact that I'm constantly putting real money on the line. When I test new things, I'm always, for one, I'll watch it and just write it down based on what I'm seeing. So I'll keep an eye on the screen. No paper trades, no real money. And then I'll move it to paper trades so I can actually get a feel for what it's like to put the orders in and kind of get an understanding of how it affects liquidity and whatnot. And then I'll move it to real cash, real money, real account with a small share size. And then as you go and the probabilities are consistent with what you're seeing in your book, you start to build it up, you build it up, you build it up, and you get to a point where you're just constantly building up. And now you have that kind of foundation of math. And that's kind of my whole thing with a lot of my strategies is it's got to be math-based, right? Because I need to fall back on something when something's not working. If I've taken 5 trades in a row, instead of feeling down and like, oh man, this is not working, I know in my head, you know what, the probability of this strategy is this. So the 5 trades, it makes sense. It fits within the mathematical framework of how this strategy should be. So we're fine. Just keep on trading. And that's kind of the whole thing for me is as long as I know the math behind the trade, I don't have to worry too much about all the other things, regardless of how many losses I have in a row or how big the losers are or winners are. It's all mathematical. And that's why you see a lot of the times when I'm trading, you're not seeing me kind of react a whole lot. It's because it's mathematical. For me, it's just all numbers, probability based. I know I'm risking this much. I know I should be able to get this kind of a game, move the trailing stop here. It's all because it's been exercised. It's been exercised through paper trades. It's been exercised through visual learning and then through low share sizes. And then here we are trading decent share sizes on these stocks. So it takes time. It takes time to build it up. And somebody earlier was saying, I can't believe how much space Arun gives his trades. Again, it all falls back to the mathematical aspects of it. I keep saying I let my trades breathe. Part of it is requiring this certain large ranges for these trades to work themselves out. Why? Because when I tested them, this is what works optimally for me. So probabilities and math, that's kind of my game here. And that's why you just see me kind of sit here and just kind of throw orders out and maybe take a position regardless of how many winners or losers I've got. I'm just kind of doing the same thing because I know the math behind my system.
Yeah, great. What was that, a $2 super chat? You just gave hundreds of dollars worth.
There's more to it because that actually needs to be addressed.
That's the thing, but we don't have
how big that super chat was.
We don't have all day. But no, great answer there. And I think that's the most important thing is understand where your math comes from, right? I mean, Arun's going to log a few different things and it's going to be different, obviously, when you're trading the futures versus trading other things. But again, most important to me is a catalyst. And I think that when you're looking at the sticky note and things like that, and again, I'll call up the sticky note one more time because that's really what, just to give you guys an idea of the kind of stuff that I look at. And I just look at our watch list and I just figure out what stocks have been moving lately, right? So there's Ford. We know that Ford just made 21-year highs 2 days ago, 2150. So that was a good mover today. And you can see what Ford's been doing. AMC, a monster mover yesterday as well. Apple, come at the king. We keep talking about that. CCL, one trade and done. I could address that. But again, thought that would be a nice one. And then Lucid's been moving around like crazy. So I like to look at 4 or 5 names to start the day off on the sticky note and then just really do sort of like what Arun was doing, look at some larger levels, let these things breathe out, and this is why we have a $3 win right now on Lucid as well. And then look at this. So look at the 3 stocks that I'm holding today. AMC, sticky note. Lucid, sticky note. Ford, sticky note. All 3 names that I have. And look at this Ford trade, guys. You want to talk about a banger right here. Long 1950 on Ford. So again, we like the long. We're still in this name. Out. Our last out was 1994 there. Good year. And then we'll go up to the upside now and get through $20. So here comes Ford. And I think if you look at the same names, and again, something that maybe Arun, or you might have touched on it, but something that can't get overlooked is the fact that the experience. And you've been looking at futures now, Arun, for 12, 13, 14, 15 years, something like that. So I think that's really where it comes down. Arun understands the moves and sort of the risk involved, things like that. And equity is going to be a little bit of a different game because every equity kind of has their own movements and able to do what they're doing. That's why I suggest that if you stick with something, like I'll be on Ford tomorrow, I'll be on AMC tomorrow, I'll be on Lucid tomorrow. Like if we can win and get a good read on some shares and some stocks and some names, those are the ones that we're going to try to return to. So what is going on with crypto right now? I don't know if there's more news or whatever, but let's just refresh this. I was just looking at Ethereum. I guess it's doing okay actually in the last 24 hours, but 37.75 right now for Ether. That's not great. This is pretty good though, 47,000. Bitcoin did touch, I think it was about 45 or so. Here's BTC, came back down. What was that bottom? 40, actually looks like 46 flat here, if I can just sort of zoom this back out. It looks like we're trying to bounce a little bit here. Yeah, what is that candle? 45.7 or so right there. So again, very interested. It stops at 420. So again, people, I don't know. If Neil was here, you'd be like, oh my God, it stopped at 420 there, but it did, 42,000. And now we'll see if Bitcoin can hold this 40,000 flat. And I mean, if that helps and works out, then I do think we can get back going to the top side. Remember, when we have this kind of a market and we have the Fed coming tomorrow, I don't know, nothing is really safe, man. We want to hear what they're going to say about inflation versus deflation. I saw Kathy Wood talking a little bit about deflation here today. And then do interest rates affect crypto at all? I mean, since crypto's been traded, there really hasn't been any movement in interest rates for the most part. Most of us that have held crypto the last couple of years have been really lucky to have record low interest rates. So let's see if that changes the game here on some of this. Like, is it worth maybe now as interest rates go up, maybe your money is more valuable, in a longer term something or other, rather than taking risks here with crypto. So I think that there are some interesting plays here coming through, including Hut 8, which was one that I like. And then let's just check out here, what's Cardano? 124, so not doing anything. It's more of these 7 days that we're talking about. Dogecoin gets a huge bump today. We talked about that with Elon Musk and Tesla and selling merchandise, being able to buy it with Dogecoin. I don't know, that doesn't seem like a good catalyst to me. Other than that, man, I like Solana, so that's the other one. So I'm trying to keep my money in some of these top ones as well as Coinbase.
I was going to mention that, Kathy Wood was making comments about inflation once again today. That PPI number this morning is 9.8% year over year on the November number. That's the highest reading ever for PPI reading in November specifically. But I mean, the companies that are producing the things that you buy are paying almost 10% more to produce those goods for you. So yeah, prices are going up. I didn't even realize this, but I guess this is a thing now. It's not FANG anymore. It's MANG, I guess, with Meta platforms officially. But anyways, all of these to the downside today, led by, surprisingly, Microsoft. Not one that we talk about a lot. I saw a few people talking about, okay, so yeah, Microsoft's down. When do we start getting excited about this? Because $100 billion came off the market cap today. 4%, guys, for Microsoft in now the MANG group of stocks.
Remember, MANG, so nothing changed. That's not Meta, right? That M is going to be Microsoft in that. So they've actually, Facebook has never really been part of FANG or anything like that. But
so who was the F?
It actually lists Meta, Sean.
What does?
This article actually lists Meta.
Yeah, who was the F in FANG if it wasn't Facebook?
No, it was, what am I talking about? It was Facebook. So Facebook, Amazon, Apple,
Netflix and Google.
Wait a minute. Was Netflix in? I mean, it must have been Netflix. It had to have been. The big problem there was Google changed it over to Alphabet, of course, right? But okay, so it's Meta. So then where's Microsoft? So Microsoft then is not in there, right? So I don't know. Anyways,
that makes no sense.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what's confusing me here. The M's are confusing me, nothing else. But okay, let's look at Microsoft. I actually turned to Arun today and I said, what the heck is wrong with Microsoft today? Down 4%. And again, I just think it's profit taking. I don't really think there's anything else. Microsoft was just at all-time highs. Almost yesterday, 250 was an all-time high for Microsoft. So we got that blown out. And if you look at a 20-minute chart, when were we at 250? Yeah, it was not, obviously it wasn't yesterday, but not too long ago here, we reached upside and we almost got back there yesterday at 245. So I think right now you have a double top happening on Microsoft. So top, and then movement to the downside right there. It's starting to tick out. So you're right at the 50-period moving average. This could be a selling spot for Softy. I don't really want to sell any of these, man. I don't have any new ideas. I mean, I have lots of ideas, but in this environment, I want to give it a couple of days to work, right? So for right now, I think it's foolish to sell anything like this, but here it comes off, man. It's getting, I don't want to say it's getting Kathy woodshedded here, but it is getting woodshedded back down to the downside. You don't see Microsoft down 4%. I mean, even on earnings when they miss, they don't go down 4%. So today, obviously, a big movement to the downside. And I think it's just, this is going to be a name that gets bought up. Every single time the market flushes, like tomorrow, if we get a bad read here coming from the Fed, and the next thing you know, we're down here like 310, something like that, I think everyone's going to be buying up Microsoft. Out of all of the names, I like Google to be the safest name out of all of these plays. So if there is a hit tomorrow in Mang or Fang or whatever there is, I think that you got to buy all these names up. Don't look at the Clovers, don't look at the Paysafes, so don't look at any of those garbage stocks, Alibaba or anything like that. If you want to start to build a portfolio, and we talk about this with Trader Prad, just wait for days like tomorrow or even right now where you're starting to flush below the 50-period moving average. Google has had these dips before. So again, if you kind of take the same math, and we talked about Arun using math, if you take the same kind of thing here, you know, Google down here around 27.50, probably a decent buy, and the same thing with Softy. Apple's already going crazy. The thing about Facebook, I know it's switching over to Meta, but that has more risks associated with it because, again, you have the whistleblowers, you have Instagram. I just saw today, what was it, 2 billion now or something on the active users or the amount of accounts created. Facebook definitely a lot more volatile than any of those other names. So if you're going to buy anything and you want to be safe, I'd say it's Microsoft and it's Google, and then a little bit risky, Facebook, and that goes with the Roblox. And I actually really like, a name that I really like, first of all, AMC's tanking right now, 80 cents now in the money on that trade. I like Unity. So I like Unity software, man. I mean, I was playing a game with my kid. It's called Ultimate Chicken Horse. I don't know if anybody's heard of that name. You heard of that, Prad? No, not Prad. No. He's just Ultimate Super Chicken Horse he's heard of. But anyways, it's being built by Unity, or it is built by Unity. It's just a small game on the Switch. It might be on other platforms. But it's really cool. I really like Unity here. It's falling back down. So if you're talking about some meta plays, I like Unity, I like Roblox, and I like Facebook.
All right, let's go back to Microsoft. You see the run Microsoft's been on, right? This is March-ish of 2020, late February, early March of 2020. That's around 140 bucks. Here we are, topping out around 350. We're trading around 327. Quite the run, and this is the kind of run you're seeing in a lot of these big names. But the reason why Microsoft would, actually, before I go on to showing you guys the other thing, let's take a quick look at this is the Apple daily chart as well. Same range, $60, 180, triple your move. This is the kind of move you're getting across the board here. But why does this matter? I did a quick Google search here just to kind of look at, this is from Slickchart, just to look at what the weights are in the NASDAQ. So you have Apple at 12.5%. So one stock controls over 10% of the index. And then you have Microsoft at 10.9, so almost 11. So you have two names that are almost at 23 and a half, almost a quarter of the index is two names. Then you do up the math on the other ones. You have Apple, you have Microsoft, you have Amazon, you have Tesla, NVIDIA, the two classes of Google shares, or Alphabet in this case, and then you have Meta. So 7 names, including the two classes of Google, control over 50% of the index. There's supposed to be 100 companies in here, and 7 names control north of 50%. So you see where the influence comes from when these indexes start to move, specifically the tech index starts to move. These are the names. Essentially, the way that it's weighted, NVIDIA, Alphabet, both classes can move in against the market, or Apple can go in one direction. Alphabet, NVIDIA, and Google's both classes can go against the market or in that direction, and it will be offset because Apple's worth 3 times as much, or the weight is 3 times as much. So these weightings do matter, and these get changed over time. Obviously, the influence in the S&P 500 is slightly less than the NASDAQ side of things, but still, these companies do matter. So when you look at these big tech names, or you're building your portfolio, as Sean mentioned, you got to look at the top of the list, especially in terms of weights. If you like the NASDAQ as a whole, if you like the tech sector as a whole, and you want to build something and you want to start somewhere, well, I mean, you got to go with the weights are, where the weights are, right? You've got 12%, you got just under 11%, you got 7.3 on Amazon, then you have Tesla at number 4 at 5.3%. So there's definitely some weighting here. And I remember back when This was a while ago too, when NASDAQ did a special rebalance because Apple was overweighted. Like Apple's value had shot up so fast that they were taking over the NASDAQ index, so they had to bring the weight down. So what they ended up doing was selling Apple shares or reducing their Apple position and pushing that into Microsoft and Google and all these other names. And this was apart from the, the quarterly adjustments that we normally get. Like now on Friday, you're going to see some adjustments here, maybe some selling of some Apple shares to make space for whether it's Tesla or some other names. But there was a special rebalance. So this was kind of indicated months in advance, and that it was going to happen on a different day. And I remember that day being absolutely nuts because Apple just completely got wrecked that day because when the index decides to reduce some shares, everyone who's trying to replicate the index by having their own portfolios has to kind of fall in line. So they've got to sell as well. So you have this kind of cascading effect kind of going through the rest of the, I guess, the financial world as one major index decides that, it's time to reduce exposure on Apple. So everyone else decides to sell, and you have that kind of a move. So keep an eye out for something like that in the event that whether it's Tesla or Apple seems weighted pretty good at 12%. Tesla seems weighted pretty good at 5.3. In the event that they need to change those weights, and it's not going to be done on a quarterly basis, they may call in a special rebalance. And I've only ever seen one in the last 15 years, and that was that special one for Apple on that day. But keep an eye out for that, because I think that'll be quite spicy whenever it does happen. Regardless of the direction they go with these rebalances or these weightings, it will definitely be one of those volatility events that everyone needs to be prepared for whenever it does happen.
All right. Okay, I didn't know if we were going back to Brendan there. I don't even have my earpiece in. That's probably why I can't hear anything. Okay, so I just want to give an update. People asking, where's my out on Lucid? So Lucid just did drop down, and I actually didn't have an out for that because the out was going to be a 40 break. So I did have an out, but it didn't came a little bit close. I don't know if that wick happened or not. If it did, that makes perfect sense because, again, here is the trade that I like. And I'm actually waiting for Michael Noss from Trade Ideas. And if any of you guys can create this, I want to get a Trade Ideas pattern that can identify when you have 3 or 4, 3 is fine, red candles in a row followed by a failed break, and you get that wick bottom. That's when I want to push. That's where I want to push higher, right? I can show you on AMC another example there, but that's what I'm looking for to trade with here. Whoopsies. To trade with here on our platform or some other platform. I would like to do that. But here's Lucid back downside. I'm not going to give it much past this 30 break. So just to give you guys an update, it's only 30 cents from now. We are $3 in the money, and I'm going to give this a 10% back. So $3 in the money. If it goes back down 30 cents, we'll get out. It's not going to be a trailing stop or anything like that. I just think that if we crack through here, 40-30, we may wick, and then if the buyer doesn't come back, then it probably continues down. So we'll get out there, and if we get out and we notice something like this, we'll pound it back in. So 40-30, we'll get out for about $2 and 80 cents, whatever that will wind up being at that time. Okay, and then AMC, something very similar. So this is what we had, green, a wick top there. Boom, it happened twice. It happened right there as well. And then it happens and it comes to the downside. We started getting out because when it happens that fast, we'll take that out. And then we hold. So we're still going to hold that AMC. And then this one is kind of silly, man. We could have got out of Ford already above 20 bucks. The reason why I say this is a little bit silly, we already tested up here once earlier, and I, should have used that right there as my out. So when we were ripping upside there, I could have just said, hey man, if we break back below 2010, get out, right? The high of the day is not 2043. That didn't happen right there. The high of the day is right here, 2012. So take some of the pre-market trades out of it. We already hit that right at 930. We hit 2012. So now at this point, we're starting to make a move back upside. So again, Ford comes out right there, defends that 50 level. We get in, and now we're going to look to get out here, 2012. Honestly, I don't want to give it all the way back here. That little bottom is going to be enough for me to get out right now. So we break back below 95, 92, 93-ish. That is going to be my out there on Ford.
I was just looking at the super chat, something about clipping these little these little tidbits of information.
Yep.
Okay. Going back, I was just looking at one of the. Thank you for Robel for putting that up. I'm sure that these guys will take care of it when they get an opportunity to. Snow. I know everyone. I remember this stock being talked about quite a bit when it came out. and it was hot for a bit. Now it's doing about 2.2 million shares today, up 3%. The reason I bring this up is because it's had some moves, but it's one of those names where it has the potential to move, but you got to set it up in advance. As long as the trade is there well in advance, come on, let's go. Okay, the trade here, that 375, that would have been a trade that was set up in advance. Would you have been able to make a trade for a few days though? No. You essentially had to let this develop, and then finally on the 13th yesterday, if you were watching this setup develop, you're like, oh, 375. Break or failed break? Failed break it is. Here we go to the downside, then you get a nice little move, then you step out of the way. And then this market's going to do this again. You set something up again. We've got some support down at 340. You wait for another setup, and then you go for it. This is one of those trades where, this is one of those stocks that has the potential for a great, great, great move. You just got to wait a few days, set it up, and then you got to take your shot. It's not going to be one of those everyday situations. Maybe it was back then when it was trading hot. But now it's kind of cooled down a bit. So just keep an eye on Snow, because it is setting up the way it's moving around. It's a wide range. So keep an eye on that 375 up top, maybe that 340 down below. We bounced off of it earlier today. So just keep an eye on that. Brendan?
Just global popping up here. If you remember going back to last week, there was a headline regarding Virgin Galactic. They selected Virgin Galactic. This is a satellite company. So they're going to team up with Virgin Galactic for some satellite work. Again, that was last week. But I just saw a huge print go off here on Spire, SPIR, just a heads up. A big move up to $4 here for that one.
All right, good little mover. If you guys are looking for those, we only have less than an hour left. And of course, we have the imbalances coming out at 350. So here we go again, man. We're going to see if we can't rinse and repeat it. So what's been a roller coaster ride here today? There it is. Roller coaster ride. There we go. Neil's on that ride there. We got to substitute your face in there. But here goes AMC. So we reloaded. Oh, we didn't do that yet. Okay, I'm reloaded. And now we'll just see, man. I mean, I'm bidding 52 again, right ahead of 50s. We'll see if it comes back down, smacks us again, but we reloaded again at 70 there. That was a big one at 76, but whatever. It rips right up. We take that fill. Now we'll see if AMC wants to come back to the downside right here. Again, I don't know. That's not good. I see it making some of these bottom wicks. It needs to crack. Someone's buying 55s up right there. Let's see if 55 holds. We are bidding. Okay, there goes 52. Ooh, I thought there it is. Okay, so we just get hit there at 52 as it comes back in. Hits. Yeah, there it goes. It hits some 51s even. So nice little out right there. So that's a good one. We'll explode some money here for AMC as we're just in scalp mode, right? And I think that goes with what we're talking about. If I actually thought there was a catalyst for AMC to come to the downside right now, I mean, look at the futures. We're basically near highs again. I mean, forget about the open. I mean, hopefully we can get back to 16,000. That would be nice. But we're basically, I mean, we took out the whole afternoon here, and now in the hour of power, the power hour, starting to show some signs here for the NASDAQ, only down that 1.16. So, hey, I think we're getting locked and loaded for Mr. Jerome tomorrow, and we'll just see where we go. But a nice battle back, and also a nice battle back here in Tesla right now, too. Back up to 955, is that what I just, yeah. So right here, Tesla, nice little move. Back to, I think this is going to be day's high again. Yeah, so take away, the morning here, and the market is really, really starting to go back to the upside. We can look at these levels. If you're long Tesla, you may want to think about possibly getting some out here, 955, something like that. That's a good out, especially if you're long down 930, 940, something in there. You're right back to some areas of concern that were in the morning. And again, this is choppy. It doesn't get any choppier than this. So watch out if you're long Tesla. Congratulations. This name, that dog, will hunt. But right now, Lucid is definitely hunting. Lucid right now back to the day's high. This is the same $3 winner that we have on Lucid. We talked about getting out if it does take back out here, 40-30. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. So right now, we're going to let Lucid ride, man. If it wants to go upside, let's keep going. We're only 2 days away. What day is it today? Tuesday. So we have to trade all tomorrow. Forget about today. It's not over, but whatever. We're going to trade all of Wednesday, then all of Thursday, and then Friday, Lucid gets rebalanced upside. So you talked about that, Arun, with the imbalances and different stocks going in and out. Yep. So Lucid goes into the NASDAQ 100. Maybe we can find that story, Valeria or Brendan, and we could talk about the 3 or 4 names that are going out, and then the 3 or 4 names that are coming in, and we can have a quick look at those. So that could be a good one going. And here goes Lucid again, starting to take out some of these highs, but I guess we got to look at AMC as it's just bouncing around as well.
Yeah, okay, a couple questions here. Thoughts on imbalances? Well, we don't know until we get them. They come out at 350, so we're gonna have to wait another 40 minutes or so before we get the imbalances. Someone else asked me, what are my thoughts on shorts on the futures? Hey man, buy-side bias is in play at the moment, so if you're gonna find shorts, you gotta find the right locations, and we're getting into that area, but again, you gotta respect the way the market is moving. And to tie in another question that was asked, which was, how do you determine or how do I confirm buyer support or resistance levels? It all depends on volume, right? Like I mentioned, earlier on some other stocks that I was trading, that if we get to an area and it looks like a great location for breaks, I kind of hesitate a little bit just because I want to make sure that if I were to go long there, any sort of selling that would come in above that price, as long as we can withstand that selling. So let's just say, for example, since the futures are trading north of 46.25 right now at 46.25 quarter, if 46.25 was a level for me and I'm like, you know what, I really want to go long there, can they withstand the selling? Because I would imagine at some point there's going to be some selling that comes in. Can they withstand it? Meaning it goes back underneath and there's more buyers that come in or that are willing to support the market to the upside through that price point, at which point I can be like, you know what, that level is being well supported. So I have the buying, respecting that area. So you know what, that level's good. Let's go ahead and make move. So that's what you got to see when you're looking for support or resistance levels and getting that confirmation as we take off to the upside. In terms of shorts on the futures, just respect the market. The market wants to go up right now. Short covering is in play, whether it's end of day buying to actually cover shorts or it's actual end of day buying to kind of reposition a little bit. Respect the market. It wants to go up, so let it go up. And at some point, there might be a short if we keep going up. But until that happens, respect the market wanting to go up. Brendan?
Yeah, it was an interesting list. Came out Monday for those changes that are coming up. This index change for the NASDAQ. Sean was away, obviously, for that. We were discussing on Monday. Here we go. Airbnb. Thank you. Airbnb, FTNT, PanW, Lucid, 63.5 billion index change. Zscaler, Datadog had a huge move, if you remember, on that news as well. A little bit lighter on the volume side of things. And then there's to be removed down here. So CDW, Fox A, Fox, CERN, CHKP, TCOM, and INCY all coming out. So to the ad side, DDOG, Zscaler, Lucid, PanW, FTNT, and Airbnb, guys, 114.9 billion.
Wow. I think it's funny because all these names are great. But the one that surprises me, or I guess it shouldn't surprise me, but I'm still impressed by, is Fox finally coming out. It's been barely hanging on, and it takes up 2 classes of shares. It's been barely hanging on into the NASDAQ 100. It's been sitting there at the 100th position and just waiting to get removed. There's 2 classes. There are only 2 companies in the NASDAQ 100 have 2 classes, Google and Fox. And finally, Fox is coming out, because I was wondering when that would happen, because they should have been removed a while ago to make space for other names. It's impressive to see Airbnb up there, though. That does deserve to be at the top of the list. I got to look at that list one more time to get a better handle on what the names are going to be. But I think for me, the one that really kind of not just brightens my day, but I'm like, oh wow, it's about time. Fox, just wasting space at the 100th position, at the back end of that NASDAQ 100 list with next to no weight either, and it has 2 classes of shares.
Was Airbnb was getting up, was going in, right? So
yeah,
I think Airbnb is a great little name here to own. And again, you want to talk about getting something that's a future possible, game changer here. Airbnb, just with everything that's been set up. I mean, is there low barriers to entry? I believe there's a little bit there because a Google or somebody, even a Facebook marketplace, can set something up similar to an Airbnb. But again, first mover advantage, they have the name. I like Airbnb. Let's see what happens. But some people say that, hey, as soon as they find out who's included and who's not, generally that makes a big spike up for Airbnb, but not the last couple of days, man. 4 or 5 straight down days here for Airbnb. So you could definitely pick this name up. This was one that was going to be on my to buy list. So I think that Airbnb, definitely something to look at for sure coming up for the future. So all right, so AMC there, and we will go over more of those names, man, as we go. Like the closer we get, even though Brendan said we'd mentioned it yesterday, we'll mention it today, we'll mention it tomorrow, and so on, just so everybody knows the kind of names that we're looking at. What you got, Ms. V?
Hey Sean, it's like o'clock officially, guys, so if you didn't like this video yet, this is the perfect timing. We have almost 3,000 people watching and just 400 likes. We need to get to 1,000 teams, so please spend just 1 second and smash the like button. Go Tesla on the like button. I actually wanted to bring my Tesla trade today for you guys. I was short earlier in Tesla, but what a crazy move. From being down around 3%, Tesla went back to down 0.60%. I was short here at 9.44. I got out at 9.39 half positions, and then 9.36. Pretty profitable trade for me. But in the morning, I was talking that I was looking at a higher time frame, and I was expecting Tesla to go back to this 963 level because I was waiting for it to fill that gap in between open and previous close price. So that's basically what it does, and I'm looking for 960-ish level to see what I want to do with Tesla. But again, congratulations anyone who caught that long trade.
Look at Valeria killing it on the Tesla trades. Good job, Valeria. That's hard to do. Trade Tesla. Well, I'm going to say that's hard to do because I don't do it, but I'm sure there's people out there that are great at Tesla. I do want to say one thing with the chat there, Emily. I see you with the super chat there. Thank you so much. I'm just going to hit. It didn't work. Oh, there you go. I hit that animation for you. Thank you so much for the shout out there. So I just wanted to address that before we continued on.
Okay, yeah, just reading the chat there. So I guess it was Day Trading Mom talking about why is nobody talking about Peloton, but I sort of read that wrong. Yeah, we traded Peloton today, and actually
yes,
Peloton,
we did.
Yeah, Peloton for me today is definitely one of those flossing stocks right there. It's been a good one for me, man, and I actually tweeted this out. We scalped it, and Peloton was great. Came out that there was some false news there about what was it, about some of their product defects or whatnot. So that came out and was like, nope, that's wrong. And we took advantage of that move, man. Like we were long into $40 already. Sorry, $41 going long, 41.20. Hit that. Merry Christmas to us, man. And then it comes back down and we start to build a position again to defend that 40, but we never have to as it just continues to go to the upside. It hits our target here at 41.25 and we get out. And that was basically a great target. And that was just sort of stuck in here. We just thought about getting out at the quarters and we did. And then now Peloton all the way to the downside, and we got out one last little piece there as it breaks back through 40. So we wind up losing on our last, what was it, 10% or so on that trade. But right now, if it comes back into 30, I mean, I don't even know. It's 316 right now. Like, shout out to Stone Cold. I just don't know if that is the right thing. It may even. I mean, the futures right now, I mean, I'm debating putting on a little bit of a short here, Road, as we're trying to climb to 16,000. Looks like we stop a little bit into this area. So we just talked about Tesla starting to rip up, but you could always short the futures here with a stop around 15,910 or so, and then see what works there. So I don't mind that play, but for Peloton, yeah, it's not really doing a whole hell of a lot. Okay, here we go. So we're going to get stopped out through 25. So we took this shot again. We just short right now on AMC. Our average price right now, 24.81. We'll see where we go, man. We just took that short right now, 87. And again, we're going to give this to 25, just a little north of 25. So it wicks higher there, right there. There's that wick higher, 25.06. I'm not on the stock. Was talking about Peloton. Would have been something to push some more shares in right there. Now it's starting to fall back down. So these wicks have been pretty good for us, reversing the direction. The problem is we're caught too low on this. We don't have that wick, which is what we should have. So yeah, this looks like it'll try to take this out. Here it comes, breaking through 25. Oh, I was going to say breaking through 25.10, we're gone. So that breaks through 25.10, which is the new high of the day. Then we are going to get out. So right now, AMC, we're going to give back a little bit of what we made there. So again, when you scalp, sometimes you got to hold out. And when these moves happen, they do burn a little bit. So back to 24.80. This will be a 30-cent hit. So again, we've taken that 30 cents here. That's short, that's 20 cents, sorry, short 70, out 51. And it looks like we're going to give some back on a 25.10 break. And here it goes, man. It's getting elevated. Great job on AMC today, guys. We're not down as much as really we should be. Considering all of this, we've made some back scalping short. We should have scalped long, and then we wouldn't have any problems. But right now, 25.10 is my out here for AMC. So once that comes through, man, that's going to be the end of it. And that will be about, what, a 30-cent worth of risk? So hopefully we can get back into the 50s and 60s again and take some of this out. But right now, AMC, yeah, looks like it wants to burn us to the upside.
Well, you're talking about AMC. You got like a GME as well, another big mover, volatile mover. It's been, sometimes you kind of forget it, not forget, but you kind of move on to trading other things that are moving more. And then GME picked up action with the close on Friday, and then obviously yesterday's move to the downside, and then here we go again today to the upside. It is getting into that area with the last 3 days worth of action, including today, by the way, that 150. That 150 seems to be containing a lot of volume. So keep an eye on how we trade around that 150. I remember when we came down through 150 the first time on Friday, we really were hesitating. We kept going 148 and change, kept bouncing back up. It looked like we would eventually go, but it never did. And then I remember Neil was looking at potential shorts below 148. I was looking at it. I was like, I don't know. But then it just rallied hard at the end there. And then obviously yesterday you get that move right through 148, which we were looking to short. Remember, it was SSR. So you had to get that move. You had to kind of offer into it and then never got a fill. And then it kept going, and then here you are again reaching that same area. Definitely there's a lot of volume in this price point. If there's a long to be made on GME, it's got to be north of 150. I would argue that's going to be 152-ish. It could even be 151, but preferably 152. But until that happens, just keep an eye on it. There's something to be done with this, whether it's to the downside or to the upside, but definitely keep an eye on the next 4 points on GME. Brendan?
Nice bounce back there for that one today. Beyond Meat, guys, day highs. Right now, through 70 there. Whole bunch of volume went off at day highs, 10% now for Beyond.
Yeah, we used that Beyond Meat example there today when we were talking about using something and trading something that has a catalyst, right? I believe it was something about, wasn't it about the Mick plant there, Brendan, or something? Yeah, so a nice move up for Beyond Meat today. Hopefully coming soon, the Mick plant. I don't know if I'll be having that one, but a nice move up for Beyond Meat. And again, I can't remember what the IPO price is. I mean, I guess I can zoom all the way back, but we've had a couple nice bottoms here for Beyond Meat, as you guys can see right here, just over the last little while, 63, 64. So again, that's why you want to look for quality names. And I don't know if you believe in Beyond Meat or not, but again, first mover advantage. There is the Impossible Burger from Tyson as well. But if they're going to get a deal with McDonald's, although McDonald's going to squeeze them, they're not going to make like a shit ton of money or anything off that deal most likely, but it does get their name back in there. And, again, we were at Costco just yesterday, actually, as we dropped the kids off at Coding, and they're selling Beyond Meat like crazy there as well. So maybe there is a runway here for Beyond Meat to get back going. But again, relatively new name, although it's been around a while. We'll see if Beyond Meat can change the game here for estrogen. What's up, Valeria?
Hey Sean, we've got a super chat from Azar Sumro. Sean, it is always so much fun trading with you. I rarely had a bad day when I follow your trades. Thanks for all you do. And indeed, guys, Sean back in the building with his amazing energy. And please, bring the energy to the like button also. I really want us to get 1,000 likes by the end of this trading day. Back to you, Sean.
There you go, Sean. Proof that you cannot take a day off anymore. You're done.
Kind words, kind words.
Your time taking days off is done now. You have to help these guys. You have to come in every day and you have to help these guys. So.
Yes, Arun.
What's that?
Happy about that.
Oh, yes. I get to go back home.
I will do as you say, Arun. And continue to help the traders. I mean, that was the whole point of the show, right? Was to educate. And I started here at Day Trade the World 20 years ago. And really, I mean, from owning offices to hiring guys, like Greg, Trader Prad, you were trading at our office as well back there at campus. So made a lot of connections and honestly learned a lot about trading. And I couldn't be happier with the career choice, although I want a better one for my kids. I'm telling them, you got to make more money than me. You got to be happier than me. You got to do all these big things because my kids like, oh, Daddy, I want to be a trader. I'm like, no, don't be a trader. Be something else. It is a stressful job, but I definitely like it. And thank you for the kind words. It's funny because coming off a 4-day weekend there, yeah, it's hard to bring some of the energy, but I'm surprised. Didn't have a great night's sleep, but much better today that we get the blood flowing. And again, obviously you see Arun and I here. Hydration Nation. So where is that Hydration Nation thing? You got to keep the water going. And I do plan on, been a little bit lazy with this, Arun.
Yeah.
So starting now, we're going to try to see if we could drink one of these a day. We used to be on that tip, but we're trying to feel a little bit healthier. This is, 3.4 liters. So I think that's
That's a gallon?
1 gallon. Yeah, there it is.
3.6,
Sorry,
right?
3.78 to be exactly there. So 3.78 all the way full. Not sponsored by, well, I mean, it kind of is sponsored by.
Well, his is. Mine is just.
So this is just
my
a
own.
normal one that I.
I'm just going to spin it around. Mine is not sponsored, so we'll just spin the logo around.
Mine is, but
Yeah,
I just put a sticker on there. So that's that. But anyways, guys, feel better, drink some more water. There's WTR. There's a water. We had a water company on here. They're doing quite well. I think water is another play that a lot of people are forgetting. Find some water ETFs. I actually want to find some water ETFs. I think those are some good ideas. People saying, why did I throw shade on Alibaba? Look, as for all the great things that's been said, Alibaba, honestly, man, like I started buying this thing like in the 200s. My average price is like 202. It's an absolute, dumpster fire right now. And I just don't trust, should have got some out here on this bump. Like we went down to 140. I'm absolutely disgusted that we didn't get them all out right here at 180. Obviously, we don't have that crystal ball, but the thing is, I like Alibaba. I think that they're doing a great job there in China. I've done some channel checks. I know some people that are living in mainland and they like Alibaba, but the problem is just the government, right? The government is just the CCP and People's Republic of China. They're all over everything there. So I don't know, there's delist rumors, there's a whole bunch of stuff. So for right now, man, I can't trust Alibaba and I'm not getting any more money into that name, guys.
There's a super chat you might want to take a look at. I think it's your opinion on TGLS.
TGLS, what? Okay, so yeah, average 1875, I feel if it breaks 23, we see 830 pretty fast. Any opinions on that ticker? Miss V Starbucks, yeah, we love Miss V and we love Starbucks as well. So hopefully if there's super chat, we'll get that over at $10. So thank you so much for that one. We will get that over to Miss V and we can get some caramel macchiatos or whatever she likes going through there. So TechnoGlass, come on. TechnoGlass here. Good movement, obviously. It got hit recently off that $30 level, so it comes back in here. And you have it at 18. Is that a flex or that's for real? Like that 1875, honestly, what was this dude's name? Dustin, man. Dustin, honestly, that is a world-class pickup right there down here to 1875. Look, you're talking about going back to 30. I don't know what the catalyst is for that. So you got to find out if there is a catalyst. Whenever you're talking about a stock going back upside, the catalyst to the downside is present for sure. That's a nice rebound up. Normally you'll get 20 to 30% on a bounce back up. I like the 3-day rule. So there's the first day, second day, third day, and then boom, you bought that at the very bottom, man, all the way to the upside. I like getting some out if you can. I don't know, what was the levels that you talked about? 23. Yeah, 23, if it breaks 23. I like to see up here, you can get something out around 24, 25. I think that's a win, man. You're long at 1875. This is worth it. But at the same time, if you want to be a hero, you do have an out at 18, and even lower here, 1650. So you're already more than 1-to-1 on the risk reward because you're in more now than $2. So I like this play. I don't know if we rocket back to 30. I would definitely get out if you can get back to the 50-period moving average. But again, without doing more work on this move, I would say that you're doing pretty good picking that up where you did, man. That's a perfect get right there on this name. I just don't know enough about it, but TechnoGlass, great pick up there, Dustin.
All right, as we continue on into the final, a half hour or so, we've got about 25 minutes, just underneath 25 minutes before we get an imbalance. Well, the imbalances come out, get released at 3:50 Eastern time for NASDAQ and New York. And futures kind of creeping higher here. Nice little move off that 4,600. So, coming in tomorrow, that 46.95 or 45.95 that I had marked off, that's going to be something I'm definitely going to be looking at. I won't be in, but definitely keep an eye on that level, 45.95 to the downside, because that 4,600 is kind of flexing a little bit. But if we get below that, that's going to be a nice little setup there. So we're kind of setting the bands that we can work with tomorrow, the ranges that we need to kind of keep an eye on. And I'll give you guys in the morning. Actually, no, I'm not in tomorrow. I've got a doctor's appointment in the morning, so I won't be in to give you guys the levels. But I'll give you guys the levels right now for anyone that's watching. 47.25, that's checkpoint number 1, or the top end level. 46.85, that's your secondary level. And then 45.95. Obviously, these ranges are wide. But on a day like tomorrow, where you're going to need those wide levels, because anything close by is going to get run over. You need these wide levels that you can work with. You know that if we get into the 60s, we can work a short into the 4685s. We know that if we get into the 4700s, there should be some minor resistance. But again, I want to kind of stress this. This is minor. This is not large. But 4725 should hold. 4710 going up to 4725 should provide a decent amount of resistance, but it's not going to be massive or anything like that. I think the majority of the volume is stuck here south of 85, between kind of 60, or even you can even argue 55. So 30 points in between 55 and 85 is going to be where the majority of the volume is going to sit. So as long as we sit somewhere outside that band and we run into it off of the Fed report, Fed decision, then we may have an opportunity to kind of set up a trade. Obviously, if we're sitting inside the band and we just kind of blow up levels left, right, and center, because what you see when something like that comes out is that the first move is usually just algorithmic, right? They're the first ones to parse through the information. So you see initial push in one direction, then you see a counter run in the opposite direction, and then a few minutes later, you see an actual settle, the prices settle in a little bit, and then you see a natural flow in the direction that the market agrees with. So be aware of these levels, but at the same time, just understand that when the Fed releases at 2 o'clock, it gets really volatile, and don't chase that first move. That first move can be very dangerous because it could be a really good head fake as well. Brendan?
Almost right on cue. We were talking about some of the, that's Miss V, I'm over here. We were talking about some of these changes that were happening on Friday, guys, or Monday morning, I guess, is when it'll actually take place. Datadog down 5%, another one that's on that list. Just tested 163 there, got a volume alert at 163, which was that high from this morning.
Yeah, Datadog, Zscaler, a couple different names there, Airbnb and whatnot. It looks like Microsoft right now trying to take out that 2850 level, which is this high. So that's, or 28, it says on here 339. That's going to be earlier on this morning here on that. Even in the pre-market, maybe I didn't see 339 today. Let's zoom back out for Microsoft here. Big movements to the downside, obviously, and you look at NASDAQ here starting to make a move upside, but Microsoft not that aggressive. I mean, it's aggressive, but it's not as much as the market here, as NASDAQ down still 1.9. Microsoft still down that 3%. So, oh man, it just took that out. I was going to think about going long through 328.50 there. We should have done that. Now it's at 330. So I think we can probably do the same thing again here. Take this dollar out, 329 right there. Like, I don't know, like what is this level? That's 329 again. So yeah, you dip back down, buyers there. Okay. Yeah, I don't mind a 329 break here on Microsoft. I think we can take that and see what happens here, getting ready for the close as Microsoft starting to make back to the upside. I said if this market can go, I do think that there is a possibility of Microsoft continuously being bought up. I mean, it's just one of those names that continues to work. And if you're going to buy something, Microsoft or Apple, I think are good names here. There it is at these levels. So now we are long through 329. New position on Microsoft. We'll see if the futures can keep ticking upside, man. If we can get back, I mean, we're almost back to these levels that we were in the pre-market, Arun, like all the way back to 16,000 again. Let's see if we can march. Right now, we're dime in the money on Microsoft with no real targets. I want to kind of let this one breathe. Again, let's see what happens. We only have now 30 minutes left. You could come back down here to VWAP, which would be 327.87. So let's see if we can make a march now to 330. So that's basically the goal here. See if we can get a march back to 330. We are already here today, where we bounced around. What's that top right there? 330.36. So let's see if we can get back to the upside right now. We'll take that on Microsoft. Up to 330 is sort of my target here on MSFT. So that's what we're looking at right there. I don't know if there's any names you guys want to talk about, but that's 330 on Softy. Lucid just continues, man. $3.50 now in the money. This name just keeps on working as well. Where are we going to get out? Let's make a call on this, because we don't need the futures to fall back, because if they do, then we're going to lose on Softy, and we're going to give some back here on Lucid. So I don't know. What about just a 41 break? I mean, it's right there. That's 41.06, 41.05. We'll give it a little bit more room there. So I think that makes some sense to me here on LCID, as the market right now looking like it wants to just keep going upside. So Lucid, 41.05 or so. We'll get out of that name if we can. Nice movements up, man. Microsoft's not really going though, but Ford starting to go back to its day's high and making new day highs right now. This is 65 cents in the money, so we'll wait to see what Ford wants to do. And then we'll put our stop in right now for LCID. And I think that that's a name that we can put a stop at 41.05 or so. What's that? Is that tick right there? Yeah, 41.05. So 41.05 for Lucid. That's my stop. What's up, Brendan?
Another group that was under pressure early on today was some of the apparel makers to the downside. RL just popping back up. Came down through 116.75 there, got bought up again. Still down 2.6, but some volume there. Yeah, it looks like the initial imbalance readings came out on the buy side, so triggered a little bit of a buy program here across the board, it would appear.
Yeah, it seems like it did trigger something here. So we will average out of Microsoft here if we can. Again, we are waiting for that 330, but we will take a fill if we can get it, man, right here at 50s. Like if we can take 50 cents real quick on this name, I think we should probably do that. So we'll wait around 50 to get out of some here on Microsoft and see if that makes its move back to the upside. We still are looking at 330. But again, if we can get that 350 and relieve some pressure on our account, then we can hold a little bit more and then see if we just blast right through that 330 and continue to go. It's not really going to follow the, it's going to do its own dance here. I mean, as the futures go, we talked about the percentages of the weighting here for NASDAQ and whatnot. So Microsoft, obviously a big part of that. We'll see. As NVIDIA, another name that we sort of, we're negative on it today, like unbelievable. We test, and now NVIDIA right back up to the high. And this is what's going to always make you look silly. When we're on the air from 8:30 until now, it's 3:30. The market's going to move, right? And it's going to make some of these outs look bad, but I can't predict that. I thought it was going to break to the downside. So it was an out there on NVIDIA. That's not the greatest. And then there's Lucid. Finally, man, we'll do Hydration Nation as we kick ourselves out of that Lucid trade. And there it is right there, taking out that 41.05. We got an execution at 02 or 03, saving us. Wow, did that really happen? It just went down to 40.50 right there. So Lucid making some moves to the downside. Wow, big move down there on Lucid, but we just cashed out of that one. So my number one stock today will be, as I look, it looks like it's going to be Lucid. I mean, we have Ford on board here. Peloton was a good winner for us as well, as that's coming back down. But right now, Lucid, we cash out of that one. So we get unplugged. There it is. So there's my Lucid car, the Dream, unplugged. And we are now out of LCID.
As I talk, though, or as I look, as Sean's talking, GME, still going strong, north of 150. It cracked 150 for a little bit there. I think the high, what is the high? A 150 half. Here we are at 149 and change. So stops went off north of 150. But again, keep an eye on this 150. It's going to be something to watch going into the next day, 2 days, especially tomorrow, I would imagine, with around 2 p.m. because these levels are kind of going to be solid. With the rest of the market moving around, I imagine GME is going to catch that bug and also go with the market, I would imagine. So keep an eye on this 150 going up to 152. That's a nice little level that's where the majority of the volume is. I mentioned this before. Keep an eye on this because it's going to be the location. If you're going to go for longs, north of here would give you volume support. If you're going to go for shorts, well, if it spins around here, you've got volume support on your short side. So definitely something to keep an eye on, especially as we trade inside this levels. As that happens, though, future is still going strong here. Nice little recovery late in the session. We started at about 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock Eastern time, and here we are about 37 points, almost 40 points from that move through the bottom, from 4,600 moving back towards the range. Like I mentioned before, though, this is a great thing. This is a really good thing. For today's trading, no, it doesn't provide any opportunities, but for tomorrow's trading, it provides a nice little level or bunch of levels, and it's close enough to either side that you can actually set something up, whether it's a short near the top with the 85 stop or a long near the bottom with the 45.95 stop. But there's definitely, this kind of movement helps the situation for anyone who's looking to kind of set something up for tomorrow. My positions, the shorts that I've had, obviously they were getting run over. Roblox ended up getting out of just north of 107, and then I got out of PG as well. I can't remember where, but I got, that one was a hit as well. I think it was 158 and change. And then I've still got Citigroup. I'll wait for Citigroup's imbalance to come out. This is, for anyone who doesn't know what an imbalance is, it looks like this. And I'm going to do this every time because we have new viewers watching every single time. So the way it works is that you have a symbol, you have a direction, you have a size, and this is in our platform, right? So size and a paired value. What this kind of tells you is how many orders are coming in trying to participate in the closing price. And obviously, they're sending their orders in, whether it was sell side or buy side. If they want to buy shares at the end of the day, they want to sell shares at the end of the day. And all that gets kind of totaled together and put into this. So when you get this information, you get to see how much pressure that stock is going to have going into the final official closing price, or that 4 p.m. close. So the market maker or the specialist is going to take all that information, trying to match as much as possible, as much that can be offset. So if there was an imbalance of 2 million shares and you see a paired value of 1 million, so that means at some point there was 3 million and 1 million had already been matched. So this column tells you how much has already been matched or how much has been taken on the other side. And then you get to see what's left, and that number will tend to have some pressure on the stock. In a name like AT&T, let's just say, that has done 52 million shares, a 2 million imbalance is not going to matter, right? It's too small. The ratio is too small. But on a name like PLTR, and this information is old, by the way. This is from this morning, so that's why it's not updating. At 3 o'clock, 3:50, we'll get an update. PLTR has done 33 million shares. A million share imbalance is not going to matter. But so let's just say the imbalance was 10 million shares. Well, now we've got a problem here because the stock has done 33. 10 million would give you a third of the day's volume on the end, right at the end. So you're going to see pressure in the names. And we saw this yesterday on KSU because there was a buy-side imbalance, but Neil mentioned to us that this was a deal that was closing with CP or CNR.
Yep.
And where's that? Is it right here? No, it's not. It was right, let me pull it back.
Daily chart?
It was, this is the 5-minute range. This is, okay.
There's the pullback, yeah.
Yeah, there was the pullback here. It was a run off this imbalance coming out, and then it was a complete spin when the imbalance changed direction because it was oversubscribed. So everybody was playing the buy side, or we knew the stock had to come out. So whoever was on the buy side got immediately offset with sell orders coming in. So you saw that spin right around on CP or on KSU, where it ran for a bit and then completely turned around in the final minute, 90 seconds or so. And that's the kind of thing that you're going to see when these imbalances are large enough. So just keep an eye on that. We'll show it to you at 3:50 when that information comes out.
Yeah, you want to talk about like stocks just, whoopsies, stocks just like bouncing around everywhere right now. We have Softy. We did take some out there right where we said at 50, so we're lucky enough to get that print. So that's 55, I think it was actually, or whatever it was. So 07's out, so that's, let's call it 45 cents right there. Now it's pulling back in, so we'll average into this, but you can see the imbalances right now, and good explanation there, and thanks for covering that, but they may be coming as a sell side as the market's starting to come to the down right now. I know Brendan mentioned that maybe they were bids, but that can always get turned around. We'll wait to see what happens. So we will buy some Microsoft off of these levels right now, man. 328 and change, we're going to get out. I'm not even going to give it, well, VWAP is 328, so I think we can give it back down to there. We'll see if that cracks. Lower than 328, we're going to be out of Microsoft, but we did average in, so our average price now is 75. So let's give that a little bit more room, see if it can't start to pair off a little bit and maybe go back up to the upside. And what we mean by pair off is that if someone came with a big sell, hopefully now someone's come with a big buy, and they have hence sort of paired off and canceled each other. You talked about Palantir there. We haven't actually traded that today, and I took a couple days off, obviously, so haven't been able to look at some of these levels, although I always watch Palantir. Look what I just saw something right now. Where's my 20-minute chart? That's a one-day chart. We could talk, the one day is fine. Just brings us down into these levels, and that's sort of what I wanted to talk about, is that Palantir has been just, I mean, like a lot of these names. We talked about Upstart, PayPal, Square, Snowflake. You talked about that today as well. It sucks that we have to go all the way back to May, but like, you know, we've bounced off this 17, 18 bucks a couple times now. This, I remember this day, that was on earnings. We talked about that over and over, where we cracked down to 16 and then wound up closing the day at 21. So that was a wild day for Palantir, but there was so many buyers down here at this level, 1650, that I don't know, I don't know if you guys can see this, but this is a wick down here, and it actually did happen, and then it just started to rip. So this was earnings day, so I'm wondering if there's buyers in and around these levels, 15 or 16 on Palantir. We would have thought that there would have been some more defense right here at 21.20. That was really surprising that there wasn't much. It just cut through butter and went all the way to the downside. So let's watch out here. I think Palantir, again, in ARC K is like fourth or fifth position in there. So I know that there is some love for this name, but at the same time, man, these names are just getting beat down. In the last 20 or so days, there's like 7 or 8 up days. So even less than that, maybe it seems like. So Palantir continues to get beat down, but there are these key levels. And this is why we got to zoom back and forth and around until we find some of them, right? So back down to 17, 18. We'll look at that tomorrow for Palantir. Unfortunately today, we only have that 15 minutes left. We have to be flat at the end of every day. So unless Palantir makes some sort of a dramatic move here, I don't know what to do. If we come back into 1850, fine. But I don't think that's going to happen here for PLTR. Microsoft getting cranked.
Well, I would imagine all the big tech names that have been moving around quite a bit are starting to make their moves, especially at the end of the day with the amounts come out. Why is this flipping over to KSU? I kind of moved. All right, here we go. Let's type this in. Microsoft on the NASDAQ. Microsoft coming off a little bit. Let's take a quick look at the other tech names. Apple, how's Apple doing? It's down, yes, but how's it doing in the last little bit? It is coming off. Not as much as Microsoft is, but you're noticing it in the tech names. You're noticing it in the market as a whole as we kind of rotate through this 4630-ish area coming on down. So it's just one of those things where we're getting near the end of the day. We know these imbalances are coming out, and a lot of these names that have kind of been able to go up because of this little, I don't want to say relief rally, but it is like an intraday rally, whether it's short covering or it's actual end of day positioning. But it has done well. This move up has kind of brought up some names, and now we're starting to kind of release that. Anyone who's bought into that has kind of started to get out a little bit. So we're going to keep an eye on this as we get closer and closer to these imbalances, which is out in about 6 minutes. So 6 minutes, you're going to see these moves. I'll show it to you live. We'll keep an eye on some big names. I think Apple, not Apple, Microsoft being the bigger percent mover. I think we got to keep an eye on Microsoft. And sometimes you'll see names that just you're not even paying attention to just pop in. Yesterday, what did we say? Oh, not KSU. There was another name that kind of surprised a lot of people. I was like, what? Why was there? SWN, was it? There was a name in there, the JWN or SWN. There was a name in there that was like, what? Why is that there? And it stayed. It was a big imbalance. I kind of lost track of it, but it was one of those names where you weren't expecting it to be there when it just kind of showed up. So definitely keep an eye on these imbalances as we get closer and closer to 350. What did you say, Brad? What about it? Goldman Sachs, he talks about.
Goldman Sachs might be on the imbalance locator. I don't know if they're being
they might be
maybe in some bank.
What's the adjustment?
Bank ETF.
100 million. This is from Prad's mouth. We'll see if this comes true. He said there's a $100 million adjustment in Goldman Sachs stock. So we'll see we'll see how that comes out. Even if it's paired value, at least that information's there.
Now.
Well, we don't know which direction. We don't know. Do you know? Share. Okay. Well, I'm just going to wait for I'm just going to go. I'm going to wait for this information to come out and see it on the board before I decide to step in. Not that I jump into these imbalances a whole lot, but we'll see how this affects pressure on these imbalances or how it affects Goldman Sachs. So I'll move this. 1 minute chart. We'll keep an eye on this for Pratt.
Yeah, Marcus starting to flush there. That's why he hit that flush down the toilet. And look at this read on AMC. Thank you so much there, Marcus. You are 100% right. We had this name, man, all the way to the downside. But, yep, diamond hands, none for that. And we got out, and there it is, right to the downside. So AMC is my worst stock today. It could be significantly, like, way worse than this. But, we kept shorting these. Like, look at these shorts. Short. So that's why. We only got one where we lost on it right there. But, all these shorts seem to be pretty good. Just AMC right now, definitely going to be on the radar tomorrow. Beautiful moves, man. Some nice levels here. Nice levels up top around 25. So I'm excited. I kind of like this AMC move. So let's wait to see where it goes from here. But again, tomorrow should be exciting on AMC. And like Prad just said, there is hopefully going to be, well, we don't know. We'll wait to see if that happens. But sometimes you do research. There's different notes out there that come out and they say, this stock to be rebalanced and whatnot. So we'll wait to see if that's going to come through in only a few minutes right now. Basically, Microsoft is out of the money right now, but it's not that bad. We're long at 328.75, so we're out 50 cents. It was a hell of a lot worse than that. We tried to buy some more on the downside, got nervous because, again, we had the imbalances, so we should have maybe got some more down low, and then we'd sort of be laughing right now, but that is what that is. Ford, I don't know. We're going to put a stop at 20. If the imbalances come out and it breaks back down through 20, then we're going to get out. I mean, that's just going to be what that is. Check back on Lucid. Was that a right decision or not? Look at this one. Yes, sir, finally. So we'll kind of spit out the money there. And I just say finally, it's been a little bit of a frustrating day. I'm glad to be back in the saddle, and I have over 200 fills today. Like, so we're active. You're not going to find more active traders on YouTube or period probably than us that are using their hands. We're not using any machines here. 230 fills today, and you've pretty much seen them all. So here we go. Let's wait to see what happens now for Lucid. That's making a move to the downside. With now only 2 minutes to go, we're going to see. What else does anybody want to talk about? Bitcoin ripping, is it? Okay, we can have a quick look in here. Let's look at GBTC and give a shout out one more time to Jeff Mendel from OTC Markets. Happy holidays to you, my friend. I hope we can get you back on so I can say that in person, as he was our first guest traveling back over the border. So coming from lovely New York City, and he was in the building, and we went to Super Chicken.
Of course you
that
guys
day.
did.
So that was fun. Next time, everybody's coming to Super Chicken. We're going to do a big one. But there it is, GBTC today. So there's a nice run. Yeah, for sure. A nice run there in BTC. So this is just looking at grayscale Bitcoin. So you can see nice volume there, 4 million shares. The spread is a little spicy. Like, if you're going to trade this, you got to watch out. You got to not be price sensitive for about 10 pennies. Sometimes the spread will really tighten up. This is about right, though, 6 or 7 pennies there for BTC, so GBTC. So if you're trading that one, definitely have a look there. And here we go, Arun, with only a minute left. It doesn't look like the futures are at any significant level.
Nothing major. Ty Ryan, thank you for the $5 super chat. And there was another thing I wanted to look at. Somebody asked, well, wasn't AMC and GME, aren't they short sale restricted? Yeah, it doesn't mean you can't short them. It just means you can't short them on a downtick, meaning if someone else is selling, you can't sell too. It just prevents everyone from piling on. So if you can offer your way into a short, or you can sell on an uptick. So if someone else bought, you can then short. So those are your options when you decide to go for the short sale restricted trades. The SSR just means that you just can't pile into a short. As we get closer and closer to this imbalance, comes out in about 20 seconds or so. We'll put up the level 2, see what it looks like. It might be a move down. You're seeing a lot of movement in Goldman Sachs. We were keeping an eye on that. And we'll see what these imbalances look like, Sean.
Yeah, okay, so with only 10 seconds left, let's have a quick look. We'll call up the imbalances and have a look for you as we'll watch them live, and we'll see what the stocks do. So here we go. Let's get ready to rock and roll with only 10 seconds left. We will adjust this on the size here. And GSK, wow, there's Apple. Okay, let's go run. Unfortunately, Apple, our charts are messed up, so it's not going to be a good one to show you, but 2.3 million shares to buy on Apple. I don't see Goldman Sachs on here, but again, it's an expensive stock.
Green Sky, that's the big one, 6.2 million shares.
Yeah, GSKY, what's up with that?
Deletion. Deletion.
So it's being
Index
deleted,
deletion,
so there it is. So.
Oh, Goldman Sachs is acquiring GSKY. Okay, so that would explain why GSKY is on the sell side. Let's see what kind of pressure
why Goldman Sachs would have been on the bid side.
Yeah, so let's see what GSKY. It's, oh wow, 6 million shares, and it's only done 2.5 on the day, 2.4 on the day. Is it even moving?
No,
this is going to be one of those names to keep an eye on. I'm going to put this up. I guess it fell from 70 to 66. There's some good liquidity there too. Unusually large, not unusually.
It'll get paired off.
You think?
Yes.
Okay.
We'll watch to see if that gets paired off near the end of the day. Most of these add and deletes. You know why, Arun? And I just say that confidently because when it's a well-known fact like this, you know, there's a lot of people that are looking to pair that off and take the other side. So we'll wait to see if that goes through. But right now, 5.9 million incoming in. Pfizer with a nice little sell. So let's see. Oops, that's Tal. Let's see what Pfizer wants to do. And again, they're saying hold my beer and not doing a whole hell of a lot right there. Pfizer with a sell imbalance, not doing anything. Do we see anything else? CCL, nice move to the downside. Again, not much happening there. Neil's favorite, Intel. Ooh, that's sub 50 now. I thought they had good news the other day. Wow, Intel, I don't know. I guess, you know, it makes sense. NVIDIA's getting cracked. AMD's getting cracked, so of course Intel's going to be getting cracked as well. CVX, if you did want to get some exposure here in oil or nat gas or anything like that, Chevron there. Look at Chevron sell. That's not the imbalance. This is the imbalance, so it doesn't really look like anything happened there as well. So I'm going to move off of this, man. I know we're trying to show this, but it doesn't really look like much is happening. Unfortunately, our Microsoft, again, doesn't look like it wants to do anything here. So hopefully we get a rally into the close. But right now, stuck on Softy and then Ford. I might as well just get this out. There doesn't appear to be any imbalances. So we break below 20. We're out of this one. Otherwise, we'll just take whatever the closing print is.
Yep. So the largest, apart from Green Sky, is going to be Apple. Apple had a 2.2 million share buy-side imbalance and already paired 8.3. So you're looking at 10 million something imbalance, roughly, of which you're going to get some movement, right? You got that movement. They were trading at about 174.40 at the open. I think it gapped up, and the next tick was 174.75. So it put in a 60-cent range off that imbalance being released. So that's something to keep an eye on. But Apple tends to pair off because Apple's one of the bigger names. It's done 100 million shares. It's, you know, the imbalance is about the imbalance that's left is about 2 million shares to 100 million on the day's volume. Obviously, it's not going to make that much of a difference. Well, we need to keep an eye on those green sky. Sean says that this is going to pair, and I've seen that before as well. But we'll keep an eye on this because here's what happens, right? You get the 350 release, and then you have a 355 update. So based on what happens at 355, if this imbalance were to get bigger at 355, you're going to see a little bit more pressure on these imbalance or on these stocks as we go down. TAL just popped into the number 2 spot. TAL, 2 million shares buy side. It's only done 7.7 on the day. Okay, they're kind of going sideways here. I'll just keep an eye on green sky. I think that's the one I really want to see what happens after 355. That's going to be the big thing here because you get the first checkpoint, the imbalance being released. Then 355 is the imbalance being updated to include dequote orders, which come from the floor. So that can sometimes offset. So you might see green sky, GSKY, go from 5.35 sell to 0, or even flip to the buy side. So based on what the floor orders look like. But for now, until that happens, it does look like it wants to keep on going down because the imbalance is still in play. But keep an eye out in the next minute or so. We'll get that update and we'll see how this moves. Keep an eye on green sky though. If you have it up, you don't have to trade it. Don't trade it if you haven't done these imbalances before. But at least keep an eye out to see how this works, at least going into the Friday rebalance.
I think you bring up a good point there, Arun, and you'll be sadly missed over the next couple of days. So thank you for filling in for Mr. Roberts and myself. So we'll do a slow clap for that one. Thank you, Arun. And Microsoft does go all the way back to 329 there, and we could have just made 40 cents and we didn't. And instead now we're gonna have to wait. So we're gonna here it goes. It's gonna break back down below 328. We're gonna get out. So Microsoft, just a crazy one, just a crazy name here into the close. It looks like there it is. So we'll be roughly flat on this. No real skin off our back here on Softy, up and down on that one. There goes Ford. So Ford breaks below, and I forgot to put the order in. So now we'll just punch out of Ford here as it's going to the downside. Right now we'll offer out, and we'll see if we get, it's just tanking pretty hard here. We'll get some 90, oh, there we go, we're out. So what did we get? We got, 97, 98s there on Ford.
Still there?
Yeah, to cap up that day. Yeah, it's going to pair off a little bit after this. So Arun, you got to wait, give it a couple seconds. Oops, that's the Canadian one. There's nothing there. We can show you the same thing happens in Canada, where you get imbalances and they get paired off and so on and so forth. So we'll look to see on that one. Suncor right now maybe one of the big ones there for Canada, but if you're looking at that, and then what I meant to call up, of course, was this, and we'll see. Okay, but remember it was 6 million shares, so now you're down to 2. It's still starting to make moves down. That might have been the wipeout bottom right there, down to, again, there's that wick bottom. We like that, down to 1160. So we'll wait to see what GSK is going to do. GSKY right now. Remember it was 6 million shares. If you knew that, like I'm expecting Pratt or somebody that's doing that research, to be short here already. Because then when it comes out, boom, you get rewarded to the downside rather than having to work with it. Pfizer selling off all-time highs. Actually, is it all-time highs? I don't know, $56. Selling off that today, but doesn't look like that wants to sell down. Other than that, there's really nothing on here. XOM, a big sell as well. Other than that, man, I don't really see much on here. Apple has obviously paired off as well.
Yep, so I'm actually moving my imbalance locator just for green sky. I moved everything else. We have the option to kind of filter things out.
Yep.
So I've kind of just focused in on green sky. As Sean mentioned, it is pairing off. It's down to 1.6 million shares, and this can accelerate. Obviously, it can accelerate. But the other thing you have to worry about as well is that this can flip, meaning everyone sees this sell side imbalance, and maybe they're like, you know what? Maybe I want to kind of participate as well. They send the opposing order, which is a buy order, and there's too much of that, which ends up sending the imbalance from a sell side to a buy side imbalance, which then puts pressure on the stock to the upside. So that's something to keep an eye on. We are down from that 5-6 million share. Now we're down to 1.6. We're still roughly at that 10 million total, but now we're just getting smaller and smaller on the actual imbalance side of things. As the smaller this number gets, the less you're going to see this react to the downside. As we get smaller and smaller, this may start to drift to the upside, and that's what you're noticing here on the imbalance on G Sky or Green Sky.
Thank you, guys. If we can get the likes going a little bit as well, as we only have a minute left, I think Randy's going to be on the bell. Only 877 likes right there. I'm going to turn that like upside down as well. We're going to try to get to a G note. So if you guys can hit the like if you haven't done that yet, very important to do that. The show's absolutely free, and I don't care. I mean, it sounds like we're pandering for likes because we are. We want you guys to hit that like button. There's nothing else to do. Share, like, everything with that would be fantastic. And thank you so much for doing that. We are almost flat. And again, Arun, we talked about having you in. It has been great. You know, a lot of people love that. We're trying to put a third. We're trying to put a third chair in here, but. This guy's not feeling that. So, but Arun is a man of the people, and we're going to give you what you guys need at some point. But tomorrow you said you have, what, a doctor's or dentist appointment, so I won't be in on the morning, but maybe you can check back. We'll figure it out anyways.
We'll figure it out.
You are a loved man, so thank you so much, Arun, for that one. What else do we want to look at here as the day's getting ready? Let's check back in on Lucid. I know a lot of people like to look at Tesla as well, so Lucid looks like a decent out for us at 41 and change. Nice move down. We'll see where that goes. Tesla, again, what's up to Miss V trading this one today? Hopefully she's able to capture some profits up there at 966, but Tesla goes from being a horrible day down to 930 to not bad at all, back up to 960. So thank you to the futures for saving us. Guys, sleep well tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be an absolutely monstrous day. It's literally the largest FOMC day in years.
Because it's the first change in a very long time. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be an epic show tomorrow at 2 p.m. You know, on Market Movers, Pratt and Ms. V will bring you to the number, and then we'll figure it out. But we'll switch quickly over to Brendan. Maybe we'll even switch a little bit earlier. We'll have to talk about that after the show, guys. We can switch a little bit earlier, and then because right at 2 o'clock is when you're going to have the hot fire. Don't forget to look at gold, right? I mean, GDX, GLD, and some of the gold names off that as well, especially with inflation, deflation, interest rates always being talked about. So here we go. Where's that GSK? Let's have a quick look at that again. It's gone.
650. It's paired off.
It is paired off right there, GSK, and as you can see, it started to make a move back to the upside, so it's completely paired off. It'll still be a monster print, right?
Yeah.
There'll be, you can see here, 10 million shares already paired off, so that's going to go. You got it? Do you have it?
I got to find it. Yeah, I got it.
Okay, otherwise I had to hit it now because it's going to be delayed. So here we go. So we will hit the countdown right there. Perfect timing as 10 seconds. Get ready to rock and roll there as GSK is now paired off. We're going to see what we can do. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mr. Randy with the fresh hairdo there, looking sharp, my man. Yeah, there it is right there. I'm going to do my homage to Randy right now. So there we go. We got the glasses on. So good job there, Randy. Let's throw it over to Brendan. Hey, look, it could always be worse today, Brendan. It looks like we had a nice little comeback.
Yeah, nice bounce off the lows that we had early on, or I guess it was about midday. We got to session lows anyways. Here we go, 0.66, 0.32, 0.99. Just got under 1 there. For the NASDAQ, Brazil down a full percent. Same story for crude oil. Yeah, good to see these two positive, as we said, a nice little rally back from day lows anyways for Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Yeah, thank God for that. I mean, nice little wrap. You know, we didn't actually have a chance to look at Coinbase. We'll look at that tomorrow. That's always a decent trade. You can watch the trade of the day is going to be AMC, and you can see me get pumped on all those shorts. But it was a fun day today, man. I mean, you know, no worse for the wear. Things printed out pretty good for us near the end. Not as much action, I think, in the last
That's kind of expected,
hour or so. But like you just nailed it, to be expected. And tomorrow's going to be a monstrous day.
Absolutely.
So, any advice for that 2 o'clock number? Are you normally a guy that will get involved in that, or will you wait to the end of the day again?
No, I'll participate, but I won't participate on the first move. And I think that's what you got to watch out for is the head fakes, because there is a lot of it, especially in the first, I want to say, minute to 5 minutes or so. There's a lot of head fakes. So just wait for things to settle down, and that settling down could be like a minute.
Yeah.
And then you get trading and do your thing.
And then also, just to go back on some of the stuff that you're talking about, if it's not any key levels or anything like that, you're not going to push in a bunch, right? You're going to wait to see what happens.
Yeah.
Play the momentum, but it has to be at certain levels in order to get all your chips in. So again, thank you to Arun, always a professional, very emotional guy here. Also update time.
Oh yeah. So this will be the last time you guys will be seeing this BlackBerry on this show, because my Pixel is on its way, delivered either this week. So next time I'm in, I will be with the Pixel, but. say goodbye to the BlackBerry guys.
The question is, you know, all those pigeons that you used to send text messages with, are you donating those back to the
I just got to
zoo?
retrain them, that's all.
I'm going to retrain them to do other things. Good call there on that one. Guys, thank you so much. I want to give a big thank you to V-Money and to Trader Prad. Very, very good show there today on Market Movers. There he is. What's up, Prad? Yeah, never show that again. That was not a good look. For Trader Prad there. Thank you, Ms. V. Always with the smile makes our day. And the green actually worked out today because it battled back. It doesn't have to be green, but you know, some of the longs get some nice victories there. Thank you, Ms. V. You're back tomorrow, right? Do you have any vacation coming up, Valeria?
Not allowed.
No, not allowed. Okay. No. And Brendan, all next week though, Brendan. You know what, Arun? You should be on the desk next week, man.
Oh no, we tried that. It did not go well. Neil's going to be on the desk. I'll be here.
That did not go well.
No.
Okay. So next week there'll be the three amigos, myself, Arun, and Neil, and then Brendan will be enjoying his vacay. And the hardest working guy deserves the most days. So thank you so much to Brendan as well. And thank you to Lucas and Rob. We didn't do a shout out to you guys today. Thank you so much for everything. It's 4:03. We've held you 3 minutes too long. Enjoy the trade of the day. Sleep well. Tomorrow's a big day. Ciao, guys.